Okay, everybody, we are live. We did it. We are Premier League. We did it. We got ourselves over the line, right? And listen, it's been 22 years we've been waiting since the last time here. I mean, thank you, the Mercy Arsene Wenger, but Mercy Mikel Arteta. It's been a monumental climb from the depths of the Europa League, the depths of the mid-table of eighth place. Unai Emery, Arsene Wenger, Unai Emery, and Mikel Arteta, and here we are, finally stand at the top of the summit of the Premier League, 2025-2026. It's surreal.
Finally, we have reached the top of the mountain. And it's a good day to be a Gooner out there. It's a good day to be a part of the Arsenal. And, I was just looking at BX's post there. There's a lot of people that this is going to be their first championship. They may have started following Arsenal, during our lean years, maybe during the Arsene Wenger era. And for them, there's a lot of people out there that, I've waited 22 years for this. I've seen past ones, but it's been a long wait. There's a lot of people out there that this is their first ever championship. So it's a very special day for those people as well. Very special day.
Yeah.
And all I can say is enjoy and just bask in the glory, because no one can take this achievement away from us. No one.
Yeah. At times like this, you remember the people that you've been supporting Arsenal with, right? So Mahir, I don't know where Mahir is. Maybe he's passed on, but if he has, rest in peace, Mahir. But, we did it. Arsenal are the Premier League champions. Many others who have watched the podcast over the years and may not be with us anymore physically on this earth. I hope you are in spirit enjoying. And to all the Gooners out there worldwide, whether it be morning time, evening time, afternoon, whatever time of the day it is for you. We did it. It's surreal. We did it. AFC Rids, we did it. 22 years of pain and hurt is finally over. We are champions of England, and there'll be plenty of time to bask in it, and we're going to go through it tonight. Gentlemen, it's actually happening. We are fucking champions. There you go. They've really gotten it over the line. Yeah. The team that Andrea Berta put together this past off season, and Mikel Arteta using the resources at his disposal. And there's only one person standing at the end of the day who can pick the team, and we've talked about it all the way through the season, his choices. And listen, at the end of the day, it might have been a very lean April, but we got over the line.
Yeah, and for me, it's in a way, it was a bit of a muted way to win the league, because I was at work today and I knew that the City game against Bournemouth was on. Over here in Vancouver, that was an 11:30 kickoff. And then I had like a window open on my computer with the scores. And when it got just before half time, I had a little look and I could see that it was happening. I was like, shit, Bournemouth are 1-0 up here. Yeah. But there was still quite a long ways to go. And then as we got into the second half, I had that screen up for most of the time, and I tuned in to listen to some of the live punditry on Talk Sport. But even when the final whistle went at 1-1, and I knew that we were champions, it kind of felt a bit muted, because I wasn't watching a game. I wasn't in a pub. Even if I was watching the game at home with the missus, it just felt sort of a little bit muted. The people, I work in a small office. Only one other person really gives a fuck about football, and he supports a Brazilian team anyway. He's a Botafogo supporter. No one else really. No one else. Well, I say really, no one else is into football. So I kind of just celebrated on my own in a corner.
And it's unfortunate.
And then went online to see how everybody else was celebrating, and got to see the team down at London Colney who were gathered together to watch the match. So I saw the team celebrating, and outside the stadium, it looks gridlocked. Ian White was down there in the middle of it with the fans. He decided that he wanted to be with the fans, so he went off down to the stadium, and looking at various reports coming in, but. I'm so glad we've done it, but it does feel a little bit muted that I wasn't in front of a television somewhere watching a game. Watching a game where Arsenal needed to win, and the final whistle goes and you're jumping up and down. But so glad,
Yeah,
so happy.
I would not be surprised if the crowds around the stadium are still there right now, well into the wee hours. I would not be surprised if they're being, um, you know, if there's a court, there's some police there to make sure everything's going well. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's still not going on. AFC Red said, I just couldn't control my tears after the final whistle. Unbelievable. And listen, it's great to see those who have been with us on the podcast throughout the years of chronicling Arsenal and the travails, the ups and downs. It is a roller coaster. The Premier League is a roller coaster, and we're here sharing it with you tonight. BX, as you said, Stan, BX had just witnessed my first league title after 21 years. So you got in right after the Invincibles, BX. I'm watching this club. I cried for 10 minutes, and that's real, Stan. He got in 2005. It seems like BX did, and following Arsenal for 21 years. It's not been lean. It's not been completely lean years. We won trophies. We won FA Cups, but you want the big one. You want the bread and butter of the Premier League title and the old first division as it was known back in the day.
Well, I mean, I would have supposed for BX, this is like going all the way back to when he probably lost his virginity. You never forget the first one. You never
Well,
forget that first one.
Cried for 10 minutes after that as well, probably, right? BX,
Yeah.
and then the Wenger intro vibe got me as well. Yeah, get in there, Arsenal. Yeah, listen, we're gonna get through. We're gonna get through the comments here. We did it. BX said. Bournemouth are such a tough team to play against. Our away win there was so crucial, and that's it, Stan. I mean, I always had confidence that Bournemouth would give Man City a big game, a tough game because they were going for. They could have actually pressured Liverpool if they'd held on for 3 points tonight. They could have pressured Liverpool on the final day of the season to get into the Champions League, to get that fifth place. But they've got European football, and Bournemouth. They gave us a scare in April. They put the shits up us a little bit. You know what I mean? Because we had to really collect ourselves after that. We put a great performance in at the Etihad against Man City, and we just didn't get the breaks on the day. But we won 4 games in a row when Man City dropped 2 draws into their 4 games. They didn't win 4 in a row. So the way they drop points, and Bournemouth the way they drop points. Um, and yes, Stan, I always thought Bournemouth would give City a tough game, and I understand what you're saying. You kind of want to be on the field. You want your team on the field to win the Premier League title. But hey, I'll take it with a game to spare. We can say, as Rohan pointed out the last podcast we did, we've now beaten Pep Guardiola. We're the only team to have beaten Pep Guardiola in an actual run-in to a title. When it really matters, we've beaten the Pep Guardiola team.
And it was funny, I was speaking to my missus on the phone, and my missus was, bless her, she was like, so do Arsenal still have to play that game on Sunday? I'm like, yeah, they still have to turn up and play football. You can't just let the opposition come out and just like there's no one to play against. Right? We still have to actually go there and play. But yeah, we've done it, and we still have a game a game to spare. It didn't go all the way down to the wire. There's a part of me that would have liked it to go down to the wire, but hey, I'll take
Yeah,
it any way that I will. I'll take it any way that I can, and if it has to
yeah,
be on a Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon at work, so be
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know,
I
so
guess we'll all remember, and momentous things like this, right? I don't know, like we all have lives outside of football, right? But momentous things like this, you tend to remember where you were, what you were doing, and yeah, I was at work also, checking the phone periodically, and I was calm about it because okay, all right. After 37 minutes, Junior Krupi scored the first goal, 1-0. And then into the second half, periodically every 10 or 15 minutes, probably checking. And hold on. Hey, they're going to hold out for a win here. And okay, Erling Haaland does what Erling Haaland usually does, but it was too little, too late for Manchester City. And they dropped the points that we required them to drop. So yeah, 22 years, Joe Madeira. Thanks for being here as well. We've been through so much. We played the best football and won nothing. We've had to deal with no funds and signing Sonogo, Shamak, Gervinho, Mustafi, Squillaci, and Gallus. Yeah, and listen, I think I'd like to not so much a remembrance, but think about the players that we did have when Mikel Arteta put his first team sheet out, and Bukayo Saka has been there throughout. Um, but we've gone through players who were good enough to get us eighth place, players who were good enough to get us fifth place, Stan, players who were good enough to get us into the Champions League. You know, somebody like a Zinchenko or Jesus were good enough to bring us up into that level to where we could feel that we could um, rubber elbows, right? Rubber whatever with the Liverpools and Man Cities of this team, and we finally did it. So
and you have to
yeah,
think of players in this current squad. A player like Trossard, for example, and a player like Eze, who were footballers at teams which were never going to get anywhere near this kind of an accolade of winning the league.
yes,
A
yes,
team like, no disrespect, but a team like Brighton and a team like City, these are teams that are trying to get into the Europa League. So
yes,
to come to Arsenal and to be able to get the big one and be a part of that, be instrumental of playing in a lot of games. I mean, what a turnaround for their careers as well. And I would imagine, someone like Trossard, he may even be leaving us in the summer. I
yes,
would imagine there's going to be a refresh, and he may be one of the ones that may leave us. What a way to go! What a way to see it
yeah,
out. That wherever he does go now, he goes there as a Premier League champion. So,
yeah.
fantastic. A
There's
player like a player like Noni Madueke as well. He's at Chelsea and he makes a move to Arsenal and now has a Premier League winners medal.
yeah, yeah. Like
A
you
Declan
mentioned.
Rice,
Oh,
even
sorry.
even a Declan Rice at West Ham. He managed to get his team to lift that Europa League, that Europa League trophy. But he's come to Arsenal and now he's a Premier League, a bona fide Premier League winner. So for some of these players that have made these switches to Arsenal, it's such a big deal for them, right? Such a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. Listen, we'll go through those players. We've got plenty of time tonight to savor this. We'll go through the players, and you mentioned Leandro Trossard, who's had difficulty recently in the press. Have had their dig in at him, but that's a player that we rated. We were talking about him. We've chronicled all of these players. We talked about them as they've come in. We kind of like this player at Brighton, Leandro Trossard. We thought he could do a job for us when we were going to pay a crazy amount of money for a Ukrainian footballer that now I think is no longer a footballer. Um, and we pivoted from that target who went to Chelsea, and we
I
pivoted to
think
Leandro
I
Trossard,
think
who we rated.
I think it's fair to say that, if I remember it right, that when we were talking at that time, it was coming up to transfer window time, and I think before a link had been made to Trossard, me and you were talking about players who
Yep,
could be, someone that could come in and maybe do a job for us. And I think we both mentioned Trossard as
yep,
someone that we kind of liked the look of before there was even links. I
yeah,
think we
and like
spoke about it before there was a link, right?
yeah, 100%, and he has been his time in Arsenal. He's been one of the key players. If you combine his 3 or 4 seasons that he's been on Arsenal, he's been one of our most influential players up front, scoring and assisting, and scoring some vital goals. And you know, in a season like this where you're going to beat City by 3 or 4 points, it's fine margins, you know. And the goal that Trossard scored, the last goal he scored against West Ham, that will be remembered as being a key goal as well. You know, Joe said we've had to deal with peak AFT banter era at the end of the Wenger area, 5-0 to Barcelona, Bayern 8-2 to United, trashing to City and Pool and Liverpool. Listen, there's been a lot of history. As a fan, I mean, as a fan of most normal clubs, I'll call them normal clubs because those clubs who live within their means, you're going to have some good times and you're going to have a lot of bad times as well. We've had to deal with the doubters, the haters, joke of a football world, bridesmaid FC. We've done it, Super Mikel and Red Army. And I think, Stan, it's fair to say. And listen, if anyone's new to this, we got 20 people in the house right now. Love that you're all here. Throw your comments in. We'll try to get to all of them. If you're new around here, so think about subscribing and hit the like button. But Stan, we've even talked this season about the fracturing within the fan base itself, those who did not believe. And I'm certainly not going to be here to say, haha, you were wrong all along not to believe, because people will follow their clubs the way they wish to. But so happy that we can all be united tonight to remember winning the Premier League title.
Yeah, big shout out to Nigel, who's just popped into the chat as well, who's a Liverpool fan, who says he just wanted to come in and congratulate us. Well deserved win and many congratulations. That's appreciated. Thank you, Nigel. It's appreciated for you to come in and give us your congratulations. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
And we've had some podcasts with some of the Liverpool fans throughout the year, and throughout the
Yeah, Dave.
years,
Dave.
Dave and Jack and even Doug, and whilst the banter can be real, it is just banter, and we recognize, we're not able to sit at the European table yet. Hopefully, we can rectify that in a couple of weeks. But much appreciate that, and the rivalry from other fan bases where they would feel better about a Manchester City win, Stan, than one of their traditional rivals in Arsenal. That's
It's been
just the way.
crazy, hasn't it? It's been crazy the last couple of months. The amount of hatred towards Arsenal of people, even neutrals of other clubs, not wanting Arsenal to win this league this year. And there's a lot of people out there who over the last couple of weeks have been sat at their computers with AI making up various memes that include bottling factories and bottling plants and things of that nature. We can put all of those in the bin. You can put all of those memes and gifs in the bin. And it would have been a difficult one. I was speaking to my missus. We had it was a bank holiday here on Monday, so I didn't have to go to work on Monday, which meant that I got to stay at home and watch the West Ham. Me and the missus sat on the sofa watching the West Ham game, which was noon here. Which was at that time, when it all finished. I was saying to my missus, I was explaining to my missus that you know, that we could become champions today if City don't
Yeah,
get a win
yeah,
at Bournemouth. But they said to her that it would more than likely go to the last day. And then I remember saying to her as well, like, can you imagine if this does go down to the last day and we lose by 1 point? We lose the championship by 1 point. And I
yeah,
was saying to her like how I didn't think I'd be able to handle it, because you just know that there would have been such a tidal wave of laughter coming towards Arsenal. It just seemed, I mean, I don't understand that, how we became the pantomime villain when you've got a team like Man City who 18 months ago, it seemed like all of the football world hated for their alleged charges of 115 charges, alleged cheating, if you will. And then within that space of time, all of a sudden, people wanted them to win over us. They had
yeah,
more. There was more of a problem with Arsenal utilising corners than there were, more of an outrage at that than there were against Man City, who have 115 up to 130 charges levelled against them, and somehow
yeah,
because we're able to utilise corners better than everyone else, that makes us the bad guys. And
yeah,
I found that quite shocking that we had got to such a level where people literally wanted Man City to win ahead of us, and all we've done is play the game properly.
yeah,
And then even in the wake of us winning, there are a lot of people over the last couple of weeks claiming that Arsenal have bought VAR. I mean, if you only have to look at the last few seasons, the amount of contentious decisions that Arsenal have got through VAR
yeah.
that have just been that, and all of a sudden now we've bought VAR. I mean, come on. I mean, just look at the season that we got. Players
We've
tapping the
had
ball,
our fair share.
the ball hitting a player's ankle, and then the player getting blamed for kicking the ball away.
Yeah, we've
Things
had
like
our fair
that.
share. And
We definitely
listen,
have to share.
Kai Havertz was fortunate last night. I must recognize that he was fortunate last night. We'll get
Oh,
into the games. We'll get into
yeah.
the games, but this is so much bigger right now. Arsenal are Premier League champions, and the Premier League. Stan, we've lived through winning a Premier League, and there are certain seasons where you're so confident it's going to happen. And I was confident at week 15, even of this season, right up until April. There was some dark days of April, so I was like, we need to enjoy the journey, not just the destination. Enjoy the trip. Enjoy what's happening. I didn't enjoy April, I have to say, when we had every team will have a wobble, right? Isn't that what we say at the start of the season? We went 8 months without a wobble, and in April we had that wobble. But I always had that confidence that we would get there in the end this season.
I don't know. I got a little bit worried. And there was a point when we could have been like 12 points ahead, which would have been a real cushion. And you could have sort of like sat back and relaxed and put your feet up on a cushion. But once the lead, we started to make some really bad, have some really bad results, and that gap was dwindling away. You know, I was getting quite nervous that even going, as I say, going into the last day of the season, we could have found ourselves in a situation where, if we'd only drawed and City had won, we could have lost it by 1 point and be in second place
Or
again.
even goal different, goals scored even.
But it was that as well. But to say it's so weird to actually win it on a day when we're not playing. That
Yeah.
we've been saved
Um,
in a way. We've kind of been saved We've been saved that the last day jitterbug. It's done. It's all signed and
you,
sealed. The ink
you
is
told
dry.
me, yeah, Stan, you told me to watch the Jamie Vardy video or documentary. And I watched the first hour of that, and I remember that season where Leicester they won the title because Tottenham couldn't beat Chelsea. You know what I mean? So they had that experience of, and you see pictures of the whole squad in sitting together watching the game and the final whistle celebrating. You know, we'll get into the individual players as well. Uh, Joe Madeira said that we deserve this. It's our time. It's time to win the Champions League. Yes, and go again next year. I'd love to repeat it again, but we got a World Cup. We got plenty of summer to talk about, but we'll have a World Cup and make this our era, And we're going to talk about maybe Pep Guardiola tonight, stuff like that. There's other things. North London and Central London is literally shut down. Says, really? Stan is the new Jack in the Box spokesperson. Yeah, we'll take it.
I think it's the hat.
Hashtag Stan knows exactly. Throughout Mikel Arteta's reign, the narratives of media have tried to play down, mock, discredit the things he's done. He's now proved them all wrong. What will they say now, champions of England? Well, here's the thing, right? Mikel Arteta's used a lot of gimmicks throughout the season. We've seen all the all or nothing, which I watched. I watched a little bit of that again as we were getting close to this title. The thing is, rival fans, like we could care less about rival fans or even Arsenal fans who look at his tactics and say it's a little bit strange. The only thing that's important, Stan, is that the 25 players plus all of the coaching staff believe in the manager and get behind him. You know what I mean? And that's they've stayed within that group. They've stayed true to their word. Declan Rice at the Etihad saying it's not over. We could read his lips, right? It's not over. We knew we maybe had to win 5 games in a row, the remaining 5 games to win this thing. Turns out City bottled it a little bit. But imagine if Arsenal had drawn to Everton 3-3, and imagine Arsenal had drawn 1-1 to Bournemouth now tonight. Um, Stefan, thanks for being here. Arsenal, Arsenal, Arsenal. What they would be saying about Arsenal tonight, then? Rivals crying under their blankets. Yeah, exactly. Berta and Heinze really came in clutch. Yeah, they shook up. They shook up the coaching staff a little bit with Heinze coming in, and we don't know the full effect behind the scenes. But when you go on to win a championship, I think every little thing matters. You know what I mean? Uh,
He must
Bournemouth.
be. I think Gabriel Hansa must be. He's well in the. He's well in the Mikel Arteta's clique because anything good happens, he's the first one to get hugs. He's the first one getting hugs with Mikel on the sideline. Sometimes Albert has to try and like sneak his way in to get a bit of a hug as well, right? It's get in there to make it to make it a throuple in the hug, right?
The interceptor, the hug interceptor is Albert. Yeah, he's got to be fast. Bournemouth could have and should have won 3 or 4 nil. City were well off it. Rodri slipping a couple of times. Pressure really got to them. Yeah, listen, I love that. These are the ones that were talking the talk in previous years and this season as well. 22 years of waiting ended by number 22. Football is poetic. Yeah, there's quite a few things that you could say as well. Um, Number 14,
Also, as well,
we know number
also,
14 is a number for Arsenal, and we won our 14th title. Stan?
I think we're the only team to have won the Premier League without having one sending off or
Yeah.
one penalty against us.
Yeah,
So far this season, we've not had a
I
single
did.
player sent off, and we've not had a single penalty go against us.
That is an amazing stat, and I thought that Kai Havertz was going to ruin that last night
Oh
at
yeah,
Burnley against Burnley. He was a lucky boy. We have to admit, I have to admit, he was
yeah,
a lucky boy.
very
Because
lucky.
it could have easily been orange or red. Um, Joe said, I agree with what Madeira, but I feel like we paid the PGMOL tax, as you mentioned earlier in the podcast. We paid it in spades. I agree with what Vieira said yesterday. 5 players from the current squad make the invincible team. Yeah, Raya, Saliba, Timber, Rice, Saka replacing Lehman, Torre, Lara, Gilberto, Lundberg. Fair shout. You know, I will recognize that, and Stan might agree with me that we've probably seen the best Arsenal side in the Invincibles. I don't think we could. Some of the Premier League wins, 98, 2002, 2004, hard to beat those teams. Even if you go back to 89 and 91, they were great sides as well. And there's plenty of time to probably have discussion about where this team fits in because eras are kind of difficult to talk about when it comes to this thing. Arsenal went to 22 years without the Premier League title, only for a Bournemouth player wearing number 22 to hand them the trophy. You just can't script this. And I think Rohan has already singled out Junior Krupi as a player that we should maybe target next season as well. You know, but the Chelsea reject curse is broken. Havertz's goal officially won us the league. Yeah, I think all of the goals were important. Even OG was important at times. Stan, that goal
Yeah,
scorer OG.
one of our best signings, OG. He
I
certainly
mean,
stepped up when we needed him.
he if it was, I think I would give player of the season to David Raya, but OG would have to be up there pretty quick, pretty high for me. Great night up there in the top five of my life. Retroholic gamer in the house. Thanks for being here. I heard that Sky Sports Studio was like a funeral tonight. Haha.
Good.
And Talk Sport too, right? And I hope the likes of Martin Keown gives it large. Do you know what I mean? The likes of Ian Wright to Peter Schmeichel. We all know the people, right? Peter Schmeichel is really salty. Yeah, here's Nigel, Liverpool fan. Respect to you, Nigel. Just wanted to congratulate you on a well-deserved win. Many congratulations. We congratulated Liverpool. We didn't love it last season in the competition. We weren't there. Liverpool um, won the league quite comfortably. You have a fantastic manager, and total respect to him for standing firm during difficult times. And I understand Mikel Arteta to a rival. I mean, he would be a Manchester City. He was a Manchester City coach, a rival to Liverpool, and a former Everton player. So, well, in the white heat of battle, um, Mikel Arteta can get the goat of many rival fans. But I have to say, Stan, a word about Mikel Arteta, and we talked about him for years now, right? I've always maintained, and he said it in a recent press conference, that when he was coach of Man City for that final game, before he was going to be the manager of Arsenal and the coach of Arsenal, he saw this stadium and how far down that we've dropped, and we came from Una Emery, who was almost welcoming 30 shots a game, and Mikel Arteta said about the foundation first and building Arsenal up, and it took a few years, but here we are, Stan.
Yeah, I mean it's been. I mean you got to give a lot of respect to the ownership as well for backing him. You don't see
Yes,
that a lot. A lot of clubs make knee-jerk reactions when managers go through a bad patch.
yes,
But Mikel Arteta has been given a lot of trust. Originally, he was head coach. That was soon changed to manager, which kind of shows you how much they trusted him to not just be somebody that works with tools given to him, but be integral in selling players, be integral in buying players. And he got rid of a lot of big names that he felt weren't really doing it for us. Like the Aubameyangs of this world, the
Ozil,
Ozils of this world were big shouts to make. And
yes,
he's had to go through 6 years of living with the hashtag of either Arteta in or Arteta out, which has always been there since day one. And it's going to be interesting to see moving forward if the fans now can all to come together as one, especially as we head into now probably the biggest game of well, not just the season, but probably as a supporter in your fanship. In my time, I've only ever seen us get to one Champions League final, and
yeah,
I can't even bring myself to watch highlights of that final, let alone watching the whole game. So I think it's crucial now that everybody comes together as one because we have had such a fractured fan base,
Yes.
and there seem to be some podcasts that live off of the discord. We've always
Yes.
tried to be, we've always tried to be fair here, and we're not just lapdogs. We don't just like sit here and nod at everything. We do have opinions, but we always try to give our opinions in a balanced way without going, overreacting
Yeah.
or even underreacting, depending on the situation. And I'm really interested now to see if the fan base can actually come together as one, because the fan base is huge. We've got a huge fan base,
Yes. Worldwide.
globally.
Yeah.
It's a really big fan base. And I think now is the time that we all get behind the team and the manager. And, we used to do, we never really did Arteta in, Arteta out. We did percentages, right? We done the
Sliding
scale.
scale.
Yeah, we done the
You
scale,
go
right?
that way. I'm like this way, right? The button, the sliding button. You're like the weighing
Right.
scale.
Yeah, I did. I like the scales, and I would say now I'm probably at today. I'm at 99%
Oh,
with the manager
come
and
on,
one
do a
percent.
hundred, Stan. Come
Yeah,
on.
no, but that 1%, I'm saving that 1% for the 30th. Right?
Okay,
I'm
okay,
saving that
okay.
1%. Because then that would just be perfection. If
Yeah,
we walk away with another trophy after today, we walk off with old big ears. Then like that is just perfection.
yeah,
If we weren't in the Champions League final, I'd be at 100. But we still have one more game. Still have that one more game to go. A very, very important game, which could just be that cherry on top of the cake.
yeah. Definitely. Joe Madeira said he got kicked off an Arsenal YouTube channel 4 weeks ago because I was pro Arteta and believed we were still going to win it. Me saying Arteta was top three manager in the world tipped the host over the edge, and I got muted from contributing. What I mean, why can't you say he's in the top three if you get to a Champions League final? You know what I mean? He's brought his team to a Champions League final, and we've won the Premier League. So the the proof is in the pudding, as they say. You know what I mean?
But why
Uh,
would you even? Why would you mute someone or boot them off of your channel just for having a
right.
difference of opinion?
The only time we ever do this, we actually on this channel we actually allow and have people who are Arteta out, or Arteta in, or just Arsenal in. The only way you're going to get booted off this is if you're disrespectful or shouting abuse that's unacceptable toward others. You know
Yeah,
what I
if you're
mean?
trolling, right? If you're
Yeah.
trolling, you're trying to like disrupt it. Fair, yeah. Then you're gone, right?
And
But
BX
other
BX
than that,
Gunner
everyone has
who's
to say.
and BX Gunner who's our moderator, he's not really had to be doing the heavy work too much. You know what I mean? Because that's not what we do
Speaking
around
of
here.
speaking of BX,
Yeah.
you just popped something into my mind there. I know you're there, BX, working the door as usual in our chat room, but BX has been someone that through for as far back as I can remember, he's
Mm.
never really been an admirer of Mikel Arteta, and he's
Yeah.
always believed that we should maybe be looking at a different manager. So I'm interested to ask BX now that after today, and lifting that huge trophy of the Premier League and having that big match to come now in Istanbul. I just wondered what your thoughts are. How are you feeling today with the manager? Because I know that he's not been in your Christmas card list. I don't think he's ever been in your Christmas card list, to be fair. So I'm just wondering if he's made it now and how you're feeling. So let us know in the
Yeah.
chat box, BX,
Um,
if you're giving Mikel Arteta a little bit of a reprieve and where you stand on him. I'd be interested to know that.
yeah, and Stan, I'm going to get a gauge on your take of it as well, and I'll go first, right? Because this leads into something I've been thinking about, and I'll go
I'll be
first,
one
right?
second. I just got to
Yeah.
answer my door. It's obviously an Amazon delivery that
All right.
hasn't
Well, I'll
received my
get a
podcast.
few. I'll get a few of these comments in here while he's still away. Retroholic Gamer, there's still a hate, not could care less, just less wait for all the media worse. Premier League winners ever. Yeah, listen, worst Premier League winners ever. That's not true. The thing that when Stan comes back, it pertains to this subject. So I'll just hold it for a second. Let's hope now that we've won the hate. We've won. The hate will die down. The banter obsession will die off, as there's nothing to banter us about anymore. Surely the focus will be on United. Exactly, being 13 years without a prem, or Chelsea, who seem to be clutching for straws again with Alonso. I don't know if that's going to be a good partnership. It's insane that we were the villain and City were cheating and a plastic club was being cheered on even by shameless United fans. And you just have to say, Joe, it's down to rivalry and rival fans not willing to entertain the thought of Arsenal being at the top of the summit again. LPG Music, come on, Arsenal. Gold winners, badges already available for the new kits. All right, so Stan, now that you're back, I can say, talking about that, I'm happy that we won the Premier League, right? I'm happy that we've extracted the extra percentages that we needed to get over the line, i.e., set pieces, i.e., being a stronger team at the back and defensively better. I will say though, Stan, and this I'm putting myself on the record here. I want to see next season Mikel Arteta open it up a little bit more and play a little bit more expansive football and play better football. You know what I mean? Where do you
He's only
stand on
going to
all?
be well. He's only going to be able to do that if he believes that he has the players to be more expansive. And I think that now that we've won it, there will be some more incomings of quality in the summer, and there will be some faces that I think will be leaving that have probably
Yeah,
served their time.
yeah,
We're moving on to the next level. And I've always said it's a good team that wins the Premier League, but I think it's a great team that not only wins it but retains it the following season and goes back to
yeah,
back, which I've not seen
yeah,
Arsenal do. So that for me is like now that's the next challenge. We've won it. We could end up being double winners of the Champions League, but we need to cement that now. We need to cement that and be fighting for the championship again next season. And
yeah,
maybe this is the springboard that we've needed. The players all know what it takes now. They all know what it takes to win a Premier League.
yeah.
So,
Indeed.
so
Joe Madeira.
that should be. Sorry, go on.
No, Joe Madeira said the channel he got muted from was the Gunner channel. Do we know him? No, I'm not really. There's only a
Who?
few others I really watch. So I watch a little bit of Harrison Yu in the morning time, but and of course some of Gary's DWT stuff as well. Other than that, I like to just we do this, Stan, because we like to put our little take on Arsenal out there. And if you like what you hear and what you see, then we've gathered a nice group of people to this podcast over the years. Uh, LGP Music, we can rest the whole team until the final now. I think that's an important point, Stan. So we don't, whilst we would want to, and Nigel also said, like, has it sunk in yet? That kind of stuff. All right, you must be buzzing, Stan. For me, I'm kind of like, has this really happened yet? You know what I mean? I'm kind of like, it's kind of a surreal thing until we see the whole team on the field with the Premier League, and we'll see that on Sunday, hoisting the trophy up and celebrating. That'll be just another celebrate. We're having it tonight, and we'll have it for the next 3, 4, 5 days until Sunday. And the guard of honor, Eze's former teammates, will be giving him a guard of honor. And what about Eze, Stan? This is a player who's come. It's Arsenal fan circle, but he's come full circle as a professional footballer.
Oh yeah, this is like Roy of the Rovers stuff, isn't it? I mean, how old is he now? 20, 27?
728.
he must have thought that his chance of coming of playing for the club that he supported from a boy was probably never going to happen. You know, he's playing. You know, he got released by the club. He's playing in London. You know, doing well, but he probably thought, you know, deep down that you know, maybe he's missed the boat of being a part of Arsenal. And then what did he do? He picked up the phone. He picked up the phone. I like that. That's ballsy. He's picked up the phone, like, you know,
Yeah.
and made the call to the manager. Somehow got his number, made the call, and had a chat. And obviously, the manager liked what he heard, because there weren't strong links to Eze, was there? It kind of happened quite quickly.
Well, there was. We were linked quite strongly, and then it died away. And we're getting close to the end of the window, and Tottenham seemed to be favourites at that time.
Yeah.
Like we all of our gunpowder had been used up. You know what I mean? But you know, Andrea Burt, I had a little look around for some money, and you know, was able to scrape together. They had like a forum themselves. They had their own Thursday night forum. They brought the whole of the board members in and said, "Okay, listen, we need to save this footballer's career. He's going to go to Tottenham. He's an Arsenal boy. We need to bring him home. He's won the FA Cup with Crystal Palace, Stan."
I mean, it's amazing how much change you can find down the back of a sofa.
When you're motivated.
You need to scrape together some money to go and get a can of beer.
Yeah, when you're motivated, you can go.
Oh yeah, there's always a bit of change, and they managed to find that change for Eze. I mean, and then look at the season he's had as well, scoring a hat trick against Tottenham,
And 5 goals in total.
Yeah, 5 goals against Tottenham in his first season.
Yep.
And walking away with the.
4? Did he score 4, or was that a hat trick?
No, he scored a hat trick, didn't he? And then he got 2.
Somehow I think he scored 4. I'm not. No. He was about to score 4. He had a great chance to score 4. Yeah,
he did,
and he was saved. But amazing, like, you know, as my caption says here, from Old Trafford to Selhurst Park, and you know, we started the season at Old Trafford, and we're going to end it at Selhurst Park. You know what I mean? With Eze coming back to his old stomping ground. So that's a great story for him. Listen, I think all of the players that we bought in this summer have played crucial roles to get us to this point. But I think Eze,
except for Norgard. Maybe he'll start. Maybe he'll start next week now. We've got nothing to lose.
I think on Sunday we could pick a team. The Kepa will be in goal. You know, there'll be Max Dowman. He'll get a game. Norgard will play. You know, I think you have to rest some players now. PSG are doing the same. You know what I mean?
And I imagine as well, because that one's away as well. I imagine that, you know, some of the regular faces that won't start will definitely be travelling up there anyway, because there's got to be a trophy lift, right? And actual presentation. So it doesn't matter who's going to be on the pitch. Everyone's going to be there.
Everyone's going to be there.
The whole squad's going to be there.
Barry Burns said, think Gunnar Sonos might start. Gunnar Sonos got this guy could even start on Sunday. The Moose, you know. But there you go. I think this proves how plastic and hollow City are. They're such a small club that even though their reign was full of trophies, their fan base is still tiny compared to us. And they played a game recently in midweek that there was hardly anybody at the stadium. Focus tomorrow. Onward for the double. Listen, I think it's great, Nigel. I think it's great that you're cheering us on for a double. As a Liverpool fan, really appreciate your unbiasedness and your support. Right? The Pep Defo was leaving because the verdict on charge about the comment. He doesn't want that association or reputation on him. I think they'll have a verdict.
Just a quick question to Nigel as well, because it's not very often that we have supporters in from other clubs. Just while you're there, Nigel, Just changing tracks a little bit, with the situation at Liverpool with the online activity of Mo Salah, the tweet that he put out, and it being liked by quite a lot of the Chelsea squad. As a Liverpool supporter, I just wondered what your thoughts are on that situation, because I've listened to some pundits. You've got some pundits which are saying it's disgraceful. Why is he doing it now? Blah blah blah. And on the other side, I've heard other people sort of like kind of like protecting Salah and saying, well, he's not the sort of person that speaks a lot, doesn't rarely gives interviews, and he's just wanting to put out there the way he feels. But I mean, he's done it before the end of the season. So I'm just interested, just as a Liverpool supporter,
Hmm.
what your views are on the situation with Salah and his shots at the club. But anyway, moving back.
Yeah, and I think Salah leaving has given him some latitude to speak. I I wonder if it's a personal, and we'll get Nigel's take on it as well. I wonder if it's a personal breakdown in the relationship between Slot and Salah, and if Salah feels like this is he's the only one that can speak on the behalf of the players because he's leaving, and the players that are there don't want to be in that jeopardy. Um,
But
he's sorry.
why do it before the season ends? I don't understand why you would do that when there is still work to be done. The job's not finished yet,
Well,
right? The season
because
isn't finished yet.
I do watch a little bit of a Liverpool podcast as well, and their thoughts were that he would get criticized for not for speaking after he left and not speaking whilst he was there. So there's always two ways to look at it. Nigel
But you got the
said,
manager. But you
"Yeah,
got the manager now who's still got to pick a team for next week, and the majority of the players that he's going to have to pick, he knows that they've all got a problem with him because they've all,
yeah,
openly liked the social media tweet from Salah. So it's not a good, it's not can't be a good, what I mean. It's not the timing. He could have done
no,
it he could have done it after the last game, right? He could have done
yeah,
it on Sunday, but after the last game, when the manager doesn't have to pick, the manager doesn't have to pick a team, and it can all be sorted out during the downtime. So
yeah." Nigel did reply, he says, "Sorry to see Mo being so vocal. I'd rather he kept it to himself." And he is backing Arnie Slot in this situation. Um, but I would just put it this way: if you're looking at Arnie Slot, and we won't stay too long on Arnie or Liverpool, but if you're looking at him over the 2 years, and you said to yourself, the first season was turmoil like this, but the second season was a Premier League win, you look at it completely differently. You know, I guess
oh
it's
yeah,
the sequence in which it goes. Uh, BX though, he's back. He's back on the door. Players will be filled with renewed confidence and enthusiasm for the final on the 30th, and they'll get a little bit of a break as well. There's no more stress of a league title. Now, I do want us to go on and post 3 points on Sunday and get the final total to a decent mid 80s. My English teacher back in the 70s had Arsenal posters, all the team. Can't remember what double you won, but it was a double circa 76. Well, we did the double in 71. Um, and then late 70s was a sequence of FA Cups. Um, we should
'76
really.
was a League Cup and FA Cup double
Was it really?
in '76. Yeah,
Wow.
it was the league.
Uh,
Sorry, not the League Cup, the league as it was then, the First Division and the FA Cup.
okay. We should really be licking our lips. City losing Pep, Bernardo, Rodri, United with Carrick and the leaky defence. Liverpool without Salah and Slot will get fired soon. Chelsea in transition. I listen. Salah's gone. Already Slot's going to be there, and they've got an important window coming up in the summer. Um, but it is going to be interesting to look around the Premier League stand and see the amount of change that's
I
going to
saw it.
happen.
What am I talking about? We never won the double in 76. 71.
71, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
going to need more.
1976 finished low, man. We finished like 17th. And I
Yeah,
think that was one of the reasons why Bertie Mee left.
yeah. And then Lane Brady would leave soon after, right? A few years
Terry
later.
Neal came in.
Yeah. Um, Wonder who
Sorry,
will
not
sign. Crucial summer to ensure we make this our era. Yeah, listen. If you look around, Stan, we're going to talk about talking later this season or in the summer about repeating. You know what I mean? And after a World Cup. But if you look at the teams, City's going to have Maresca. Liverpool will have Arnie Slot still. Alonso will be the Chelsea manager, not our Alonso, but Javi Alonso, and had to do that. And Michael Carrick will be a Manchester United manager, most likely. Who will have come off of like a purple patch mid-season and done so. Like we're established right now. We're gonna have probably the upper hand. You know what I mean? And it'll be a great opportunity to do something that Arsenal have never done in their history. Is repeat.
Yes, I'm very pensive about that, but let's enjoy today.
Let's enjoy it. I mean, I think coming off of World Cup, there's going to be a lot of our international players that won't be available in the first month or 6 weeks. I would say, you know, uh, and of course our preseason will be set. Because we are. I think we're going to be playing City in the Charity Shield, and other things are set already. To do the league and Champions League would be incredible. That would be a nice double, you know. And we've gone through the permutations in recent weeks. As Stan said, like imagine we lose the league by a point, but go on and win the Champions League, you know. But they're two separate entities. We've done all of these permutations. Um, and we can look on to the PSG game now. Um, Thank you, BX. Was that FA Cup and League Cup? Right. What else we got? All right. I think you'll do it. I'll be supporting you. Thanks, Nigel. Um, there is
Yeah,
Sudbury.
that was when we beat Man United 2-1
Yeah.
in the FA Cup.
What's your keep and sell list? Yeah. Well, we kind of know, right? I mean, I think we need a midfielder. I think some players that have to go. Maybe Ben White will have to go. Gabriel Jesus will have to go. I would sell Kepa. I don't think that he's going to want to stay another season. You know.
Well, we
So
are at
there's
that stage where even though we will have money to spend, we're in that area now with all of these rules regarding money and how it's spent, where we do have to bring money in. So regardless of how much we've got available to spend, and I imagine it would be quite a nice bag from winning the Premier League and getting to the final of the Champions League. We still have to make money through sales. So
BX.
you look at someone maybe like a Ben White, and who knows, maybe someone like a Waneri or a Miles Lewis Skelly, just because it will all be profit and that would be good for the books.
Yeah, that would be a tough one. Miles Lewis Skelly, who was pretty transformative for us in um, the final weeks of the season. You know, but plenty of time to talk about damage. Your manager, in my opinion, he was taking stick and handling it so well. Respect. Yeah, listen. We supported Mikel Arteta stand throughout the majority of his time. We got to a point where his press conferences became so guarded, and so mysterious. We weren't getting anything out of his press conferences, which kudos to Mikel. We gotta say, but it wasn't entertaining or it wasn't informational for us. So
Oh, I stopped watching a pre-match interview with Mikel Arteta ages ago. It's a waste of time. You don't learn anything. Do you know what I mean?
I,
You don't learn
yeah,
anything at all. So I stopped tuning into them ages ago.
so imagine you're a rival manager and you want to get some information about the team. Well, Mikel's not going to give you anything. He's not going to give you anything. Daniel Shaw, yeah, we've been counting on this. You're not going to be sleeping tonight, so stay right here with us tonight. Get in, says Daniel. Yeah, I sent voice messages of "We Are the Champions" to my mates who bantered me all season. Glorious.
Good job. Good job, Daniel.
Yeah,
Good
fight,
job.
fight your corner. This team up the Arsenal Sound Killer 2025, and yeah, BX did some work at the door. He had to do a bit of bounce duty, so BX is on it tonight. Um, Day off tomorrow for a whole squad and focus on this. We must win for old big ears. We remember the PSG game last year. We remember um, how it was difficult to play them over two legs with a depleted team. So we're ready to have another crack at Luis Enrique, and they've won one, so they can lose one. That's my take on it anyway. I'm okay with them losing one. Um, yeah, Joe got kicked off a channel because he talked about Mikel Arteta being in the top three. Factual. We always talk about Arsenal when they got to the quarterfinals. Then we said we're in the top eight in Europe. When you get to the semifinals, we're in the top four. Well, right now we're in the top two of Europe. So it's factual. It's true.
And every year since we've been back in the Champions League, every year we've progressed to a later stage,
Yep.
almost like clockwork. So you know,
So
doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to win it. As all I want to see, just touching on that Champions League final, win or lose, I just want my team to give it everything. I don't want to leave no stone unturned. And if we get beaten on the day by the better team, then that's just how it is, isn't it? You just got to hope that next year you are the better team.
yeah, talk about Pep Guardiola and the team that he had. He was with Manchester City for 10 years and he won a Champions League one time. One time, got to a final. I think he lost the final as well, one time. So it's not easy to do these things. Arguably the most important game in your history, Nigel. What I think that we can guarantee, Stan, is we're not going to lose by more than a goal. I think we're going to be in the game for a long way. You know what I mean? If we're playing PSG. Couldn't believe it. Arsenal's show getting muted for being pro Arsenal. Yeah, and listen, it should never be that way. We need to look after our own, and even if it's you know one extreme or the other extreme, we need to all recognize we want the same things from our team. We all get up in the morning, we turn on the TV, and we want to see a win, so we can have a nice week. We can have a nice weekend. You know what I mean? And then, Stan, sometimes we ask ourselves, why did we put ourselves through this torment, torture? You know,
Well, it's quite a special day for this podcast as well, right? How long have we been going now?
eight,
How many seasons
eight
have we been
years,
doing this?
8 season.
8 seasons? When did I come in?
Oh, pretty
When
early,
did
I'd
I
say.
come in?
Maybe season two.
Season
Maybe
7? Sorry, yeah. Well, counting
no.
backwards, yeah. Season 2. And it's been quite a long journey, hasn't it? That we've been doing this now.
Well, yeah. If you want to, like 7.
Yeah, myself, you, Mahir. Hope you're out there, Mahir. I haven't
There we
spoken.
go.
We've lost. You don't know where Mahir is.
There we go.
Alonso, Tony Turner, Gary, Mr. Tom, Sam Greenwood.
Yeah,
Who else has there been?
Matt.
Rohan, Matt. We've
Remember
had the
Matt?
bearded gooner, Matt.
Yeah,
Darren,
yeah. We've had we had Darren.
Darren,
We've had freaking
Lawrence, even Lawrence.
Lawrence. All is forgiven, Lawrence. You know, I want to know. Well, maybe I don't want to know what his opinion is tonight. You know what I mean?
I'm sure
He's
he's
probably
finding fault with something.
yeah. He's so miserable that he was like, we won despite him. You know what I mean? That's what he would say. We won the league despite Mikel Arteta. That's what he would say. You know what I mean? Shit. There was Tanner, the bearded gooner, and yeah, my here all the way. Noe, we've had all these people with us. Dez is in the chat box as well. Shout out to Alex as well. R.I.P. Alex and his brother Ralph. Recent loss, but yeah, celebrating. A huge win, a huge win for the Arsenal. You know, and we remember
I
your
bet
Mrs. Talent
deep
Tony.
inside, right, my missus, who I've been with now for 16 years, is probably thinking, "Thank fuck for that at last." Thank
Well, you know
fuck.
what? I
Do you know what I mean?
I'm reminded. You've seen Fever Pitch, right, Stan?
Yeah.
You've seen Fever
So
Pitch, right?
recently, funny enough, watched it
And
recently and
and
showed a
she
missus.
and she says it'll never be this good again, right? And he's like, "Oh, fuck off," you know. Yeah, it's a roller coaster. It is definitely a roller coaster. For those who are with us and those who are not with us, this is
Yeah,
for
and
you.
those that are not with us, I just want to shout out to my old mate Claude. I'm sure
Yeah,
he's up there. I'm sure Claude is up there having a beer and having a little bit of a jig. So
yeah,
just sad that I'm really sad that Claude wasn't here to share this day.
yeah. Um, Stephen, another one, Stephen Featley, something like that. These are all the people that you come across when you're doing podcasts, and we're all a family. Um, yeah, and listen, Arsenal mean a lot to a
Also,
lot of
it's a
people.
couple from Burkamp Wonderland as well. Steve and David as well. There were a couple of long timers over on Danny's channel
Yeah,
as well. Who I'm sure will be raising a glass up there with the big man.
yeah. Um, Sean said, "Big up, gentlemen. 22 years of anguish, sorrow, and disappointment, and finally
Oh,
look
you're
at it
freezing
back
up
up
there.
as it should be." Yeah, I know. My internet, I got to put 50 pence in the meter or something like that. You know what I mean? Uh, it's like the old lights in the snooker hall. You know, I used to get 50 pence for 12 minutes. I think, Stan. uh, you're not favorites though. I actually think that's in your favor. I agree. I agree, Nigel. The underdogs. We are probably better as the underdogs. I wasn't sure about Arteta, said Sean, over the last 18 months, but having won the league, let him stay. If he wins the Champions League, give him a statue. I think Arsenal are quite generous in that regard. If we win the Champions League, he'll definitely get a statue. You know,
So there's a
uh,
name. There's a name. This is a name I've not seen in a while. All right, Des.
that's the
Des the
enforcer.
enforcer. All right, Des.
Yeah,
Good to see you, mate. Happy
yeah.
days.
Richard, yeah, I remember Richard as well. Uh, yeah, and we had a kid called Luca as well. He was quite insistent about some things. Luca
Yeah,
Quarta. Yeah, so this is
I
like
remember
a
Luca.
walk down memory lane. Uh, he's a legend regardless of the result of the weekend. Um, he gets credit, yes, but he needed Berta and Heinze to reel him in my opinion. I'm happy to find him more time now that he's proven to be able to win big. Yeah, listen, we said this, didn't we, Stan? He needed a sporting director. I remember you famously saying, like, Mikel, you sure you want to wear those purple pants or, those orange pants out? There's somebody to talk to Mikel in his ear and to say, hey, think about this. If we win the Champions League, definitely he should get a statue. What has happened that has got you here, Stan? So Nigel's, I mean, you kind of covered it well earlier. Mikel Arteta got in with Per Mertesacker, and it started off with, do we have the drones? So you get the drones up in the air, and you see who's not running, who is running. But he went about modifying the squad. Aubameyang, I think, was a big call, especially during the North London derby when Aubameyang was late, and he was late to team meetings as the captain. So I think it's important to set the tone, the standards, the fogging standards. Stan, remember those, right? And
Yeah.
you know, be,
Trying to find the perfect left back. Fucking hell, how many of them have we got through?
yeah, Granit Xhaka. Granit Xhaka was one of those. Um, but yeah, find the perfect left back. It was not easy. We went through a lot of left backs. We couldn't go through them as quickly as Manchester City go through players. We had to respect uh, our model. You know what I mean? Our payment structure. Um, the channel I got muted from was the Gunner channel. Do you know him? Yeah, I feel like I'm way behind here. Afternoon, fellas. They finally done it. The assemble is here. So yeah, we're getting a shout out to all the people that we've known and talked to over the years. Tiger and Gooner is probably not here because we did an impromptu podcast here. By the way, respect that you guys still sober and awake. Yeah. Well, we
We
were,
couldn't wait till Thursday, right? We couldn't wait till Thursday to talk about this. You know what I mean? We had to come on air today.
yeah.
You know,
The wife was like, "So are you having a show Thursday?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know." Stan wanted to get on tonight, so I was like, "You know what? Let's do it." Because we have the immediacy. We don't often do it. We don't often jump on when it's popular to jump on. We usually have our set shows, but happy to be here, uh, chronicling a great day. I know it's the next day in England right now, but a great day for Arsenal. Um, the title handed to us by Manchester City's inability to win at Bournemouth.
just going back to one of the questions you asked me about, and I think it was also Nigel that asked the question about how did we get here.
Yeah,
And I think this goes back more than this season because if you look at the way that we've played our football this season, it hasn't always been the best on the eye. It hasn't. All right. Yes, we've won it, but it hasn't been the best on the eye. And there's been a lot of criticism about the way that we've been playing football. I've even heard some people saying that we've killed football, we've ruined football. But I definitely think that the shift that Arteta had made, if we had ended up at the end of this season empty-handed, then it would be incredibly difficult for Mikel Arteta to justify continuing playing in this kind of vein. I would imagine that there are maybe people behind the scenes who, if supporters and pundits are looking at it and going, well, it's not that easy on the eye. I would imagine some people internally may have had that feeling. And if you get to the end of the season and you come up with nothing, how do you then convince those doubters or people that weren't sure to continue the journey with you? Now that we've lifted the big one and we're in the final for the Champions League, I think a lot of people, whether it's pundits, whether it's fans, whether it's people internally, are kind of going, okay, all right, fair enough. let's see what you got next season then. Okay, it worked. You know, you have to give the guys flowers. He's got it over the line with a game to spare as well. With a game to spare,
Yep.
which says quite a lot. So now I think that just gives Mikel a lot of license going into next season, and I think that it's only gone and galvanised the team, because I was also worried that if we come up short this season, I was thinking, for the manager, how does the manager get them all going again?
Well, yeah.
That would have been the fourth time that we finished second, right? How do you?
Yeah, it would be the four piece. Yeah.
How do you what do you say to players? How do you get them going? How do you keep them on side? And maybe then there would have been, maybe the owners might have even looked at that and thought, well, as much as we like this guy, maybe we need a refresh in the manager's chair, someone that can come in and to revitalise these guys. Maybe Mikel has run out of ideas and words for this group of players, and it's time for him to take his philosophy elsewhere. So the fact that he's won it, I mean, I bet for him it's a great relief. You know, I mean, look how pleased we are. I bet for the manager, he's so relieved that his principles have got him over the line. It's justification for him, right? This is such a justification for him, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we'll play exactly the same way next year, because we may have better tools to choose from, which will allow us to play football in maybe a different way, depending on who the personnel is. But it really is a vindication of the manager and his team, his coaching staff, to what they've done. Okay, it might not have been easy on the eye, but look at seasons that have gone by when the football really was easy on the eye, and we used to have a lot of neutrals wanting to watch Arsenal matches. But what did we win at the end of the season? We never lifted the big one.
Well, we played good football those side. We got the accolades for playing good football, but we didn't win any trophies.
And it rarely got us past the last 16 in the old Champions League format. Rarely we'd get to a quarterfinals, you know?
Yeah.
You're talking about big vindication.
Yeah, you're talking about Mikel Arteta getting us over the line, but how close that can be. Like, you know, at West Ham a couple of days ago at West Ham, Mikel Arteta's head is in his hands because he thinks that we conceded a late goal because it did cross the line. His head's in his hand. He's like, oh my God, we've lost 2 points here. We let City back into it. Fair play. I mean, I got to say, this is not PGMOL favoring Arsenal, but we did have a referee who we could hear on the VAR saying, no, when they tried to point out, there's 3 fouls on our goalkeeper, but they tried to point out that there was other fouls from Trossard and Rice. They tried so hard in that VAR booth to point the referee in a different direction, and he had the cojones to say, no, I've seen enough. It's a clear foul on a goalkeeper, and rightly adjudged that goal, chalk it off. Arsenal win 1-0.
That was quite a moment for me, because when that was all happening in real time, I was in the line at the Dominican Republic airport in Punta Cana. I'd just finished my 10-day vacation, and I was actually in the line with all of my luggage and the missus, waiting to check in, and I had the headphones on. And when Trossard scored, you know, when you got your headphones on, you talk a lot louder than what you think you are, because you got the headphones on. I turned around to my missus and shouted out the word Trossard. And I swear there may have been a few people in the queue behind that got down on the floor who didn't understand what was going on and maybe thought something big was about to go down at the airport. So I just shouted out, Trossard!
Trossard.
And then when they equalised, you know what I mean? I turned around to my missus in a panic and said, like, they've scored. And I was listening to the coverage on Talk Sport, and then I could hear, obviously, that it wasn't concrete yet. It wasn't a concrete goal. There was a lot of deciding going on, and I'm gradually, you know, staking my way towards the checkout counter with my passport in my hand. So that was quite, when people say, "Where were you when?" I'll always remember
Yeah,
where I was because it was a hot
yeah,
afternoon, sweating out off, dragging suitcases, and trying to stay focused
yeah.
on
I was.
on the result.
I don't know. Like when I get nervous and I'm watching the TV, I'm probably about 10 feet away from the TV right now. I get closer and closer to the TV, and I start pacing 2 or 3 feet in front of the television and imploring. We know they're grown men, and it's happening thousands of miles away. But we somehow feel as fans that we can have some effect, but we can't. You know what I mean? It's up to the 11 that go onto the field. Knight just says, don't celebrate too much. Still work to be done. And there's going to be a party at Selhurst Park. Still expect a few Gunners in the homestands. Uh, Joe said, I heard Palace fans were selling home tickets for Sunday for 1,000. And I would
Yeah, I heard
imagine
about that.
probably true. You're going to your last home game, and you could probably pay for your season ticket. An Arsenal fan would be happy to pay you that amount of money. It would probably pay for your season ticket next season. You know, 1993, some tickets were going for more than Champions League tickets, um, just so that Arsenal fans can be there. And that stadium's what, maybe 20, 25, 30,000 capacity. So it's not one of the bigger stadiums, I believe. Selhurst Park.
And it's not really that much of a trek to get to, right? It's not like you're getting on a train all the way up to the northeast or somewhere like that, right?
Yeah, and Selhurst Park's got some significance for you as well, Stan.
Yeah, it was the
Got
first
some
Arsenal game I ever saw was at Selhurst Park.
got some
That was my
history there.
first ever Arsenal back in 79, 80, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. We used to do. I think during the pandemic, we used to do some trivia or some games, and Tony saw one of the answers. He believes it was Selhurst Park. So there's a significance even to this channel. Tony and I went back and forth on Selhurst Park a lot, and there's just something nice about it, Stan, that we're gonna be lifting the Premier League trophy at Selhurst Park because there is a little bit of banter in the channel for Selhurst Park. Um, as I kind of like Palace. I like Glasner. He's done a good job,
Yeah,
and
I can imagine that Eze is a player that is loved by the Crystal Palace fans for what he
yes,
did for them. He scored a lot of goals for them, right? It seems like he's a likable chap, right? So even for them, I bet they're going to be well pleased for him.
yeah,
That it's not, it's almost like he's one of their own in a way. Do you know what I mean? For the time that he's been there, and
exactly.
he's left and has immediately lifted the Premier League trophy, and will be able to do it at the ground. So a nice
Having
little
won the FA Cup for
bow on
them
the
as
top.
well.
Yeah,
He
nice little
scored
bow
the
on the
FA.
top.
Yep. He scored the FA Cup in the FA Cup final. He won the FA Cup for them. Yep, says Barry. 3 goals and 2 goals for Eze in the North London derby, and he has been very important for us at a time when we couldn't rely on Odegaard um, for a full season. Now Eze was able to step in when Odegaard was injured, and I think that's been important. Imagine our season without Eze and Odegaard's injured, like he was the previous season. It probably doesn't look the same. Um, you okay with your goalkeeper? Raya is world class, Nigel. I think Raya is the best goalkeeper, and um, in the Premier League, and but I do have I'm suspicious of Kepa and the decision for me, Mikel Arteta choosing. I understand the second goalkeeper gets picked a lot in the Carabao Cup and the League Cup, but the decision to go with Kepa when you're up against Pep Guardiola, it, it, it it's a very very tiny irritation to me that um, we allowed Pep Guardiola have that one trophy, and he was able to win the FA Cup as well. So Pep is leaving with a cup double. Rice is now favorite on Polymarket to win Player of the Year. Right, Premier League Player of the Year. I think as an Arsenal within the, I think the best Arsenal this season for Arsenal has been David Raya for me. I
Yeah,
just think he's been crucial. In a lot of cases, he's come up with a lot of big saves that kind of goes under the carpet because of the how brilliant we've been with set pieces, and we've not scored the amount of goals that we needed to score this season, but we have been very, very efficient with free kicks. And free kicks, there's a lot of skill to free kicks. You got to put them. You got to place the ball like the Burnley goal. You got to place that corner right on the head of Havertz, and it's not that easy. It looks easy. I saw Dembele come off injured on the weekend. I think we would have to say, Joe, it was precautionary, and we'll know next week closer to the game. I think secretly the whole of the UK wanted you to win. Will be fantastic for the UK, and that's the Champions League. And listen, we what have we done? We've opened up another spot for the Champions League. Now there's five places in the Premier League. Thank you, Liverpool. You're welcome. We probably did that for you, right? Just what we need. Um, so yeah, you met the Champions League, Nigel, and that'll be beneficial to Arnie Slot as well.
and
Some trans-
just let us know in the chat box as well who your player of the season so far up to this point, because we still have another game, but up to this point, he's been your player of the season. And you mentioned David Raya, which I think is a very good shout. But
yeah,
I also want to put Gabriel Megalegs up there as well. I think he's been fantastic this season.
he's been a stalwart, and we varied our set pieces, our corners, and our free kicks. Later in the season, we went to a lot of short free kicks because teams maybe figured us out, and that's what I love about our set piece coach. He sees things and he varies them. But Gabriel Magalhaes scored quite a few goals from the corners that we were putting onto the 6 yard box um, earlier in the season. So he's been immense for us this season. We talk about the invincible team, Stan, and there was like 11 captains on the field. And definitely we have four or five of them in this Arsenal team. David Raya, Gabriel Magalhaes, Declan Rice, Odegaard, Saka, even the Timber, the Saliba. These are the kind of players that could be captain of the team. Um, Sean said some transfers I'd like to see, not all, but at least try. Yan Diamande, Krupi Jr., who I've talked about um, earlier today, he scored the goal. Senesi, Wharton, Munoz, and one big signing, Alvarez. I know you're quite sweet on Alvarez as well. And I say, if they're available and we can do it, why not do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've been linked to quite a few players already. Alvarez, Tonali, Livramento, um, Endrick from Madrid, who's on loan in France. Who else was there?
Everything.
Liao. There's quite a few names that we've been linked to.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kvaratskhelia as well, has been mentioned that he could possibly be leaving PSG for the Premier League.
I think.
And with what's going on over at Real Madrid, which they seem to be falling to pieces at the moment. And I was reading that, with the news that Jose Mourinho is going to be announced as the new manager, there's about 9 or 10 players that have asked to be let go. They want to leave. A lot of players know that if he comes in, it's not going to be an easy ride anymore. That they're going to have to come in on time, that they're going to have to apply themselves, and that Jose Mourinho doesn't play favourites. So,
Yeah.
A team like Real Madrid could be a good team that's ripe for picking one or two players if there's a lot of unease and uncertainty there, right? I mean, Mbappe could even be leaving. I keep reading now that Mbappe is like tips to go to Chelsea and link up with Xabi Alonso.
Okay.
I mean, that's going to cost a fortune. Whoever decides to pick up Mbappe it's going to cost a fortune. And you know that young man just seems cursed, doesn't he? He just seems cursed.
Yeah. Wow.
Individually, fantastic talent, but seems to be a huge disruptor. I mean,
Definitely.
there's an online petition of names that want to get him out of Real Madrid, and last I heard, it was at 70 million. I mean, there's not even 70 million people in France.
Yeah. Luis Enrique cast off Mbappe from PSG, and arguably PSG have profited and gotten a better team ethic rather than having a star player like Mbappe. You know.
Well, yeah, that was their golden fleece, so to speak, was winning the Champions League, right? And they got close, but were never able to get across the line. And then
Yeah.
Mbappe goes across to Real Madrid, who are kings of the Champions League. And look what's happened there, and look what's happened in La
Yeah.
Liga.
Very
You know,
interesting, right?
you know, Copa del Rey's and stuff. Yet he still scored something like 44 goals in 80 games.
Yeah.
Or something
Interesting.
stupid like that. Oh no, it's
Um,
80 goals in total since he's been there in like what is it, just over
2 or
100
3
appearances.
seasons. Yeah. Barry said mentally having the league will give us a good chance in the Champions League. It'll be tough and we will be underdogs, but having a title, already believe we will play well. And that's it. The confidence. I think it's good. We win the league tonight. We won the league tonight, Stan. We got 4 or 5 days where we can build up to Sunday, enjoy the game, celebrate. But then we got maybe a week, right? We got a week. It'll have to be very quick celebration on Sunday because Mikel Arteta will have to say Monday, okay, now we prepare for a Champions League final. You know what I mean?
Yeah, job's not
Uh,
done yet.
job is not done exactly. I love that as well. That the season goes on. I listen. Enjoy tonight. Enjoy the next 3, 4, or 5 days, and enjoy it as if we're not going to win another trophy, but hopefully we do at the end of this month.
Yeah,
Um, which Arsenal player do you think will have the best World Cup? Well, that's a great question. Saliba, Stan. Which Arsenal? I know it's
Megalex,
pretty early, huh?
Gabriel Megalex might be on a winning side
You think
with
Brazil?
Brazil.
I'm not really up on who's good. I don't know where Brazil's at right now. You know what I mean?
You can never discount them, can you? You know, France has got to be up there.
Yeah.
I think Spain has got to be in there. Maybe England as well.
You know, we have Spanish players, we have Brazilian players, we have English players, we have French players. So, you know, we're going to really have to keep tabs on how far they go in the competition. They're going to have some sort of a holiday as well. You know what I mean? It's going to be an interesting summer. We'll have a UEFA Super Cup to play in August. I know they're going
Imagine
to
what's,
England.
could you imagine if we win the Champions League and then England goes on to win the World Cup? Players like Saka and Rice, what a season for them!
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know we will, but if we didn't buy in the summer, this team could win the league again. Uh, I don't know. I think I'd like to have the insurance, Des. Thanks for being here as well. Great to see you. Sorry when I say league, I refer to old league, for Premiership, not League Cup. Yeah, he's. Did you see Cappy lose his shorts?
Yeah, yeah.
Also, him Cappy shorts fully coming off his brother.
They were right off, weren't they?
Yeah, he didn't have the strings tightly. He didn't tie up the strings very well. Let's just say that much.
I thought it was
Uh,
funny as well that the footage I was watching, they showed a replay and showed the replay of him as well, lying on the
but
grass
it
with
was
his fucking
blurred out.
sack.
It was blurred out, wasn't it?
No, not on the footage I was watching. It was right there, mate.
Yeah, that was fun. And then he did a quick lift it up and lift his body up an inch so he could pull it back up. Um, would love Nico Paz at Coma, but he wants to go back to Real Madrid. They want him very cheap buyout clause, but want a profile of passing playmaker to compete with Odegaard. It'll be a long summer of players linked with the Premier League champions. Why does Sky Sports show replay that for the memes? Yeah, Hincape. Uh, thought he was going to do a Sammy Nelson and ruin the fans. Man City 115 don't mean anything now, but we won it our way with no excuses. I'd still like to see Des. I'd still like to see the punishment come down. It's got to come down on them. You can't continue to conduct yourself like that as a club. We can potentially go back to back for the first time since the 30s. Yeah, I mean Herbert Chapman. That would be, and Pep's just done 10 years, Stan, and Mikel will have done 6.5 seasons. So there's got to be another 3 or 4 seasons of Mikel if it all doesn't go pear shaped. Shaped, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we've done it without any cheating.
Yeah, exactly. Well put.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, MLS can handle Vitinha. Yeah, we haven't even turned our sights really.
How old is MLS? Because I saw footage of him behind the scenes today drinking out of a bottle of champagne, and I was like, "Are you 18 yet?"
23. I want to say he's 23.
Okay, he's old enough to be drinking then, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's 23. Congrats on 8 seasons. Thanks, Des. We do it, right? We do it. Hasn't always been. We had some. Hey, Stan, in 8 years, right? We had some pretty depressing podcasts.
19. He's 19.
He's 19 years old. He feels like he's 23.
So you were just saying?
In 8 seasons, we've had some pretty depressing scores to talk about. We've had some
Yeah.
depressing results to talk about. You know, losing the Wolves, um, players being sent off. Brentford, remember Brentford? They didn't even draw the Lions.
Yeah. They didn't even bother. They didn't even bother drawing the putting the lines in, did they? For that one, it's called the arse.
So,
Alonso's in the chat.
who's in the chat? Alonso. All right,
All right, Alonso.
he's headed home. He might make it for the last few minutes. Who knows? So, my understanding is you were second favorites to win all big years. Okay, I think that's positive. Personally, I think assuming the squad handle themselves well in the coming days, professional, you'll win. I mean, we have to. We hope to. You know.
Listen, even if we end up strangling all of the joy out of that game and we take it to extra time and then into penalties and David Ras saves two penalties and we win, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, you win the Champions League by any means possible. You know what I mean? When you win the league after 22 years, you go live. Exactly, BX. Arteta was let build his own team, and Gyökeres has proved a lot of people wrong. By Yeah, I think Gyökeres pretty good.
He's played his part.
Yeah,
He's
I
played
think
his part.
he's improved. I think he's improved a lot.
Was you surprised with the last game yesterday when you saw the lineup and you saw Havertz was starting and not Gyökeres? Did that say anything to you?
So what it said to me was that we were protecting Gyökeres for the Champions League final. It's very hard. It's very hard for me to evaluate Mikel's thinking. My thoughts were he was protecting him a little bit from playing too much football and be ready for the Champions League final. I know you're thinking Havertz might be getting a look in, preparing Havertz for the final as well. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I looked at the lineup for last game West Ham, and it seemed to me that Mikel Arteta did everything that he could to get any technical players that were fit and ready to play. He wanted them in the team. I
Yeah,
mean, the double pivot, the double pivot of Rice and Azubamendi, that's gone. He's
yeah.
got Rice playing deep. He's putting
Miles
in
Lewis.
Odegaard and Eze,
Okay. Yeah.
in now.
Has
Trossard
Very-
over Martinelli is more technical as well. And then I
yeah.
think Havertz as well over Gyökeres is more of a technical player. And you could see that he wanted to go for it. There was no caution. He trusted his defence, but he wanted to go with a team that he felt could be more creative, and creativity leads to goals, right?
Yeah, and a measure of control, I think, in maintaining possession more. But it was maddening. West Ham, especially, and Burnley to an extent.
Sorry, yeah, Burnley. I got my days mixed
We
up.
only
Burnley, I wanted to say
we only
last game.
scored the one. We only scored the one goal. So that was kind of like frustrating. That we haven't been able to get that.
They had a go as well. Burnley were having a go.
Yeah,
They had some really good spells in the game where, you know, you, they looked like they were the home team sometimes with the way that they were playing. They were going for it. Everyone, you always think, oh, Burnley, oh, yeah, it's going to be at least 3-4 goals. Doesn't always work like that. You're
yeah.
looking at where we are in the table, where they are in the table. You'd think, oh, well, it's going to be a trouncing. But.
And turn up. And hopefully, they say when you're champions, when you win the biggest prize, you learn how to close out seasons. So hopefully, this experience will bode well for this team in the coming seasons. Because surely in the next weeks or months, we'll be talking about this team potentially winning another Premier League title. Once you do it once, you want to do it again. You know what I mean? BX asked the question though, Stan. What is something you think Arteta has learned this year? I think he's learned that Declan Rice might be a better six than he is an eight, and bringing
I think
Declan
he's
Rice
learned.
back into the six has been
I think
important in the last month.
I think he's learned about flexibility. He's not stuck rigid to his tactics. He's been quite flexible with his tactics. I mean, we were just saying, right?
Yeah,
The double pivot is now the double pivot has now gone away for a little bit. He's opened up the game by putting in more technical players and gone for try to get more creativity instead of being steadfast as a defensive team first. And I like to see that he can be flexible. Also, as well, having a bigger squad size. That has definitely been a big help to us. And I don't know. There could still be criticisms of has he used the squad depth to his full advantage? I'm not so sure about that. There are times when it's like we've got players being fielded when they're literally playing in the red and breathing out of their arse, and they're still being played in games, and you have other players like a Nordgaard, for example, who probably must be fresh as a daisy, right? Because all he seems to be doing is training and not getting a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
But I definitely think having a bigger squad has helped us. I mean, our left back situation, Hincapie Calafiori, what a great situation to be in. Right back situation, Ben White or Timber. And if none
Mascara.
of those, and as I was going to say, yeah, if none of those are available, you can always throw a Mosquera in there. On the left as well, you can throw an MLS in there.
Yeah.
You
Well
know,
covered.
nicely stacked. So
Yeah.
I,
You
I,
got.
I just I just think that there is still work to be done on the attacking side of our team. You know, no matter how much we love these players, you know, I'm at an age now where I don't get attached to individuals as much as I used to, and I'm all for selling a player as long as the person coming in to replace them is an upgrade,
Yeah.
because you can always do better. And if it means that we're going to lose somebody on the left wing in order to make that left wing better, I'm open to that. You know, I'm not wedded to a Martinelli or a Trossard. As
Yeah.
much as I like them and I give them their flowers for doing their part this season, if an upgrade can be made on that left hand side, I'm all for it.
Yeah. And listen, I really would love to win that Champions League as well. To bring a Champions League together with a Premier League title. Some of those players that we mentioned, they wouldn't hate to leave Arsenal on the back of a Champions League and a Premier League double, and they'd be able to. Yeah, somebody like Trossard would be able to command a pretty decent fee somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if he goes to Saudi Arabia, for example, where there's bags of money.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
he could go over there for 2 or 3 seasons and just ensure that him and his family are set for life, right? When he does decide to hang up his boots.
yeah. And even the likes of Martinelli has been one that we talked about as well. We all know that left wing needs upgrading because Saka is pretty good on the other side, and we have cover for Saka in Madueke. But we
And
all
down
know, but Damon, right?
and
Um,
even through the middle, even through the middle, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Jesus go. You know, even when he's not really in contention anymore as an Arsenal player, even off of the bench, and he's sat on a lot of bags a week, right? On over 200 bags a week. You need to free that up. And yeah, it's good to see that Gyökeres is coming good. But if we can bring in someone like an Alvarez to make more competition, that'll only be good for someone like Victor Gyökeres. It'll be good
yeah,
for us that we can have add more quality, but it also gives Gyökeres more competition, and competition is healthy. Um, I wouldn't. I don't think Kai Havertz is going to go anywhere. He seems like a favourite, manager's favourite,
yeah,
and we still have a Mikel Merino who can play in that position as well. So
yeah,
if you've got a Gyökeres, a replacement for Jesus, whoever that may be, a Havertz, and also a Merino, that's not bad.
yeah. And
That's not bad.
we've
That's
seen
not bad for that position.
we've seen periods this season where Havertz and Gyökeres have been on the field at the same time, and Havertz has assisted Gyökeres as well. So we could see a situation. There's nothing wrong with an Alvarez coming in and thinking that they could actually play together up front. You know what I mean? Julian
Who knows? I mean,
Alvarez.
who knows? Will we see will we start to see a re-emergence of two playing up front with one a little bit deep behind the other?
Everything comes
We
back
see
eventually.
we see a lot of teams do that these days. It's coming back around, right? You see quite a few teams when you go and look at a starting lineup. You watch a match of the day and the lineup comes up. I always notice it. Oh, they've got two playing up front in that team.
Yeah. BX says strike while the iron is hot. Get Krupi Jr. in the summer. He's already a legend after today. Yeah, get him over to the carpet, right? Is that what we say?
But
Can we
what
talk
position does
about?
he play? Does he plays a 10, right?
He plays left wing. I'm not
Does he?
sure if he can. Well, I'm happy to be wrong, but I thought that he would fit into that left wing position. Um,
I thought he
maybe
played
somebody
as
in
a.
chat can let us know as well what position Krupi plays, or you can check it out there, Stan. Can we talk about all the
Uh,
rival haters and the hate we got in the last 20 years? Yeah, Rids, we did touch on that
yeah,
earlier.
in the lineup today, he was playing behind Evan Nilsson. So he had Evan
Okay.
Nilsson as the striker, and then there were three behind him. Three. He had Rayan on the right wing, who I like the look of him, by the way. That young Brazilian Rayan. He
Yeah.
looks like he's going to build a good career for himself. And on the left hand side, it was Tavernier, but in the middle was Creepy.
Okay, so they pushed
Yeah.
Tavernier
Yeah.
forward.
Maybe he can play wing as well. Maybe he's one of
Yeah.
those players that can play on the wing or in the middle. But again, if we go and get someone like Krupi, where's he going to play? How's a formation going to look? Are we going to play a formation that has an out and out 10? Or are we going to play a formation that has a left 8 and a right 8 in front of a 6? Sometimes during the season, we probably will see a double pivot. So you got to
Yeah.
think of some of those players, right? That if we're going to buy a Krupi, he's already playing week in and week out in the Premier League. He's
Yeah.
going to want to move. He's going to want to move to a team where it's not going to cut down his appearances. And so what? If you look at the players that he's in contention with in the current Arsenal setup, he's basically in a contention with an Eze and an Odegaard
Yeah. Oh,
for for
talk about
minutes, right?
favorites.
For
Yeah.
minutes. And if everybody is fit, do you know what I mean? Where is he in the pecking order?
Yeah.
As good and bright as the player is,
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta may be more willing, you know what I mean, to choose those that he has that little bit more history with. And someone like Krupi, as I say, if he's already playing week in, week out in the Premier League, why is he going to come and sit on Arsenal's bench?
Uh, because it's Arsenal, and you need to bring some players that are willing to, you know, sit on the bench. I mean,
I mean, it works for Man City, doesn't it? You have players like Savinho, for example, who every time I see Savinho play, he looks like a really good player. But he's not, he's not a nailed-on
he
starter.
wouldn't be getting a
Neither
lot
is
of minutes. Yeah.
neither is Cherky. Cherky's
Yeah.
not a nailed-on starter, is he? He starts some games, but he's not a nailed-on starter. Same with who's the other one? Reinders, who they bought. You know,
Yeah.
the only
Um,
one that they bought recently that seems to be a nailed-on starter and is proving that he should be is Semenyo.
yeah.
Maybe Gay.
Gary's in the chat. Welcome, Gary. Hello, hello.
Hey, Gary.
AFC Red said, Ray, you need to get Tony and Alonso in just for the occasion. The links are have been distributed to Tony, Alonso, Gary. So I even sent one to Rohan if he wanted to join as well. So, and Gary's like, win a Premier League and talking transfers. What about Champions League? LOL. Hey, the Champions League, it's on the horizon, Gary. But we got to talk about the next game. It's always the next game, right? And the next game is a trophy presentation at Selhurst Park. So you know, savor, savor. That's what we're doing. And yeah, we are talking about players. Maybe the
You know what they
chat.
should do, right? As it's only South London, right? To, Crystal Palace. What they should do is, after the game is finished, outside of the Crystal Palace Stadium, they should have the bus there ready. The double-decker open-top bus. So all the players could get on the bus and drive back to North London from South London on the bus. Obviously sunshine and good weather notwithstanding, hopefully, but drive from South London to North London with the trophy.
Yeah.
Come into North London and have everybody waiting for them. Why not? It's not that far, right?
Be
within
pretty good.
London.
It's a pretty good
It's not
idea,
like
right there.
it's not like they're in Newcastle and they've got to get on the bus and then drive all the way down the motorway. Do you know what I mean? On an
Yeah,
open top bus.
do it. I mean, you're gonna have probably majority Arsenal fans at the stadium to celebrate lifting the trophy. Then you get on the bus and all the way back to the Emirates. There'll be more fans all the way and along the route as well. Um, it's good vibes because Palace are lifting trophies as well, so the vibes are good on both sides. Plus, Palace just received £10 million for Eze winning
I
the
didn't know
league.
that. Didn't know that.
Yeah, we, I think it was maybe Rowan. We were talking about this at the last time we did the podcast. It was well, a lot of our players have contracts. Norgard, I think, had something. They're called like bonus incentives, right? You win in Premier League, you're going to get something. You win in Champions League, you're going to get a little bit more, you know. And the parent clubs, the clubs that sell these players, they don't only sell the player to a bigger club in Arsenal, but they want to have these little extra bumps, you
Yeah, the
know.
funniest one I remember is Anthony Martial when he went to Manchester United has a Ballon d'Or clause in his contract. And look how his career ended up.
Win a Ballon d'Or, his club gets a lot of money. We stack up a lot better against PSG than people want to admit.
No, he
Yeah,
would get the money, I believe. I think he would get it,
oh, he would
the
get it.
player.
Okay,
Yeah, he would.
okay.
There was some sort of a bonus that if he wins the Ballon d'Or, then there's another financial incentive.
Yeah, BX, we can give PSG some uncomfortable moments, I believe. Imagine we win a few corners in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the game. Well, we'd have probably an edge there as well. Raya, play of the season for BX. Surprise of the season, Stan, was Henkapi. A player that I've come to really, really like was Henkapi. And
Yeah,
it was probably like 10 games back when we played Chelsea at home. He ran back, he ran Neto out the sideline, got a throw in, and went the other direction, and Neto wasn't bothered to chase him back. So he's
Henk
the
for me,
one.
right? He's one of them FIFA players, right? When I play FIFA and I play, I play the career mode offline. I don't play against other people, and I build my little Arsenal world. I always sort of like go online and look for any young wonder kids who the people in the know say, yeah, get this guy. His stats will go up really quickly and this, that, and the other. And it's always funny when you see some of these that you find on FIFA and then in the real world they come to your club and they start to do something. And Hincape was one of those. So I was aware of him, even though I didn't watch him in his league,
Okay.
before he came to us. But I knew who he was for the past few years because he was a name that on FIFA he's down as a left back or a left-footed centre back. So he was one that I would always go after, and I knew that he had a good reputation in the game. And when I found out that we were getting him on loan, I was like, literally, my mouth was open. Like, we're getting this guy on loan. On
Yeah.
loan.
Yeah.
We haven't had to go out and like shell out a load of dough. We're able to like have a good look at him, and obviously that move is going to become permanent. But I couldn't believe it. Martin Odegaard is another one for my FIFA scouting that came to the
Yeah.
team. So it always sort of like makes me
Sorry.
chuckle when something like from a computer game it evolves into the real world and that player comes to your club.
Yeah. We
But
had
yeah, Henk Kappa, what a good deal that is to get him on loan, and the money
yeah.
can be sorted out at a later date. That's a great deal.
And then we had Nuno Tavares as well. You like to banter me a little bit about that one. You know what I mean? For 1 week, I thought he was the guy. For 1 week, Stan. As much as I would love that I can't see England winning the World Cup, maybe in the semi-finals. Get in there, yes, yes, yes. Let's keep the energy. Get in there. Arsenal are Premier League champions. And yes, we're celebrating it. You know what I mean? We're celebrating it tonight. Um, this is what it means to win the Premier League. It is a competition that you win it very, very slowly, right? You feel all the way through winter, January, February, you feel in control, Stan. Remember, Man City could never quite close the gap. We were 7 points, 6 points, 5 points, 9 points ahead. Never quite got past 10 or 11 or 12. It would have been finished at that point. But it's one of those things that you win slowly and you savor quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and as I said at the beginning of the pod, it's a strange way to win this, right? You know, we've got supporters all over the world. You're in the States. I'm living here in Canada.
Yeah.
Being at work during the day, it's not even like there's a game on that you can, you know, it's not like even if there was an Arsenal game on, it was another game whose results could change everything. And it was probably 50-50, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it is Man City. And there is, you know, I mean, it wouldn't surprise us if we'd gone and checked the scores and at half time Man City was already 3-0 up. It's not
Yeah.
impossible, right? So to
Yeah.
have it unfold in this way, you know, you're not in front of a TV screen, you're not at the game, you're not actually watching it happen and unfold where you really are invested. It's kind of been like, I mean, as happy as I am, it has kind of been a weird feeling. I'm glad that we've actually done a podcast tonight, so at least you and I've got someone to talk to and
Savor.
share it with.
Yes.
Because you know, I live in Canada, right? You know, I work in a very small office, and no one else supports Arsenal there. No one else is even really into football there.
Yeah. Same.
So, a very strange way to win it, and it's not even really sunk in yet for me. It hasn't properly sunk in yet because you've not seen the usual. You've not seen the play, you know, a final whistle go and players, yeah, people running onto a pitch, people on people's shoulders. You know, a cup being brought out. It's a really weird and kind of a little bit muted, but
Yeah.
I'm going to take it. You know,
We'll
I'm
be
taking
watching
it.
Sunday. We'll be
Oh
watching
yeah,
Sunday. You know. Yeah, 100% agree with you, Stan. I'm sort of glad that you were like, "Hey, let's do a podcast tonight," because I was gonna like let the evening go and get it to Thursday and then talk about it. And yeah, it'd still be great Thursday, but it feels good now to discuss this. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And you're
of
right;
course.
it's surreal.
How long you've been waiting so long for it? I'm like, I ain't waiting till Thursday. Surely not. Not waiting till Thursday to talk about this. Do you know what I mean? Let's
Well,
talk about it tonight.
if we've been doing this podcast for 8 years, and it's 22 years, so it was like 14 years of, since 2004, we went into that season where we could have won the Champions League in 2005 or six. I can't. I think it was 2006 because we won the FA Cup 2005 against Man United. Then we went the next season to the Champions League final, and then we went to the team broke up. Arsene Wenger went smaller with more creative midfielders, and that's when we were getting slapped around the field for a good 5, 6, 7 years. Um, we had some good players, Van Persie, Fabregas, Mikel Arteta, and Mertesacker themselves came to stabilize the team, and then we got to a situation under Arsene Wenger where we could win some FA Cups. Right, so it's been a whole journey. Brady said we don't win this league without our squad depth. Arteta needs to improve his squad management, and that's important. We all agree. He's got to start using the likes of Norgard, especially early in the season. August, September. Pep Guardiola is leaving, but he's shown us how to use a squad, right? And you use those players early, and then you go with your tried and trusted players later in the season. And if you need to pick up ground, then you do it that way. You know, I'm hearing that Ben White will be replaced by Tino Livramento. I actually like Nunez, the right back from Crystal Palace as well. And that's sort of what we've done. We've done this the last 8 years, right, Stan? We've targeted Premier League players who have quality and can come in and make us better. We've taken the odd addition like a Urian Timber or even a Gyökeres from the other leagues, but essentially we've gone and gotten some players like a Madueke.
Zubimendi, Marino. There's been quite a mix.
Yeah, it has been a mix. But the ones that we go abroad for are usually quality, right? A word about Mascara as well. I mean, this is a player that I've kind of like had a fondness for as well. We remember Brentford, right? We talk about Brentford with Mascara, Stan, away to
Yeah,
Brentford. We get a 1-1 draw, and it looked a little bit gnarly at the end, where Thiago, that guy who's had a great season scoring goals, he gets about 2 yards on Mascara, and you think he's bearing down on goal to beat us 2-1. Quite a critical
yeah.
part.
That was a Mosquera recovery, wasn't it?
It was a Mascara recovery, a lot like Hector Bellerin used to do back in the day. Um, BX says, I believe we have Mosquera, Marino, Zubamendi, and Raya going to the World Cup. Big Spanish and English contingents. Gary, been here for a bit now. Welcome, Gary. Krupe and Tavernier are excellent players. Champions merch dropping on Arsenal Direct. Just take my money. Yeah, we're gonna want those shirts with that Premier League trophy on there, right?
Yeah,
Win
well, if
at
you win the Champions League, do we get to put a little star on our kit, right? If you want to.
Yeah, we point to it. Look, the Premier League champions. Win the Premier League and talking transfers. What about Champions League? LOL. Yes, Gary, we want that Champions League as well. We'll preview. There's plenty of time to preview a Champions League. They're saying Krupi is the next on, right? I think he's. I think wouldn't go that far, but um,
Why
maybe.
can't Krupi be the next Krupi?
Yeah, put putting some pressure on him already. Thierry Henry, I mean, what a player. You know what I mean? So I'm not a betting man, says Nigel. However, Arsenal are second favourites to win at 23-10. So Arsenal is arguably the most important game in the club's history. £10 gets £23. I'd say that's amazing odds. I'd also say that the bookies set the odds to kind of where they don't often get it wrong. Let me just say that much. You know what I mean? So I'd love to be right. I'd love you to be right. I'd be on 200 to win 460 and drink something Saturday night. Sunday night. Oh, it's Saturday, right? It is Saturday. Saturday. Yeah, Tiger and Gooners made it. The champion of Australia this year. Uh, celebrating Tiger and Gooners, celebrating champions of England. Yeah, BX and Tiger, they've been in the chat constantly every week, so good to see them interacting. Uh, we're finally champions. Play like your life depends upon it. Um,
So you haven't got to the question yet, but Nigel was. Oh, there you go. That's a question I was just about to bring up.
are we doing a live listen along on Saturday? On Saturday, the Premier League Sunday, right?
No, I would. I thought he was asking about the Champions League.
Ooh, that's a big question. What do you think? What do you think, Stan?
Well,
I might not be able to. Is my answer? You're like, well,
I don't know if I'm going to watch it at home or go out. The thing is, though, it's like so early over here to go out. It's like 8 in the morning. So
Yeah.
like, you've got to be outside the pub for 7 because
Like
it's a
noon,
small pub.
noon
It's a
here,
small
isn't
pub.
it? So it'd be 9 o'clock your time.
Yeah, it's a small pub, and I don't like getting up that early, and I don't like to be in a pub environment if we lose.
Yeah.
It's good
Yeah.
if you win, but not if you lose. So I'm not decided if I'm going to go out to watch it or watch it from home.
All right. Question: How? Okay, we won the Premier League title, and that's huge, right? And it's a successful season. How gutted would you be if we lost the Champions League?
Again, as I've always said, it's about the manner of the loss, right?
Yeah.
If the better team wins on the day and it's not us, but we've left everything on the pitch and the boys have given everything, of course you're sad, but you take it. Only one team can win. For me, it's always about the manner of the loss.
Yeah.
I just want Arsenal on the 30th to go out there and play to their best ability and give it everything. If I can see them do that and we still end up losing, then we know what we need to do to be better next year, right?
Yeah.
We can look at that and try and make it better because every year in the Champions League under Mikel Arteta, he's moved us on to a next stage.
I think
We've got to a final now.
so. Yeah, and I kind of agree with you. All those points. Um, when I say PSG to you, I have a vision of PSG just running like chaos. They run riot. They're very mobile. They're very fast. But I think we're built to slow that down and stop that happening. It's kind of a
Well,
mini preview. Kind of a mini preview of the Champions League final right now.
defensively, it's hard to name a better team than Arsenal at the moment.
Yes.
You know,
We've
David
not
Raya is
conceded a goal.
David Raya is going to win the Golden Glove for the third year in a row. It's never been done in the Premier League. We have a very, very good defence. And even if we have one or two defenders that are out, we've got good replacements. That's our superpower. We are a defensive team first. Some people might not like that, but that is where this Arsenal team is. We're a defensive team first, and that's always going to help. Because in order to win games, you've got to score goals. And in a one-off game, there's no get a draw, see you in the next leg. It's now or never. And we do have a very good defence. We may not have as spectacular attacking players as PSG, but the attacking players that we do have, they're not goal shy. They can come up with goals as well.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we'll surprise a few people because defensively that could be our superpower. Yeah, they can take their shots, but if we can close them out,
Yeah.
and keep those chances to a minimum, then we're in with a shout.
Yeah, I think
we are with a shout.
I think we can hold the ball enough and shut down their ball playing midfielders to limit the amount of ball that the wingers will get and then Bailey will get. Obviously, they're gonna get their chances. It's up to us to get our chances as well. Winning the league will give us an incentive to go all out in the Champions League. Tiger Gunner, I agree, and I think the
And the same,
timing.
but it's the same for PSG as well, right? I take it. I don't watch the French league, but they win it every year, don't they? PSG.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I just
they're gonna.
question here, Stan. Have you guys ever won the European Cup? No, we haven't. I don't think so. Therefore, most important game in the club's history.
Cup Winners' Cup, isn't it?
Cup Winners' Cup, yeah. But this is the most. This is the most important. This is the most important champions. Alonso champion.
Yeah, it's just overwhelming because they've only done it right. And it's
Take it away, Alonso. Take it away. I'm going to grab another beer. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they had to overcome, right, and the fact that we had a striker come from Portugal who wasn't good enough apparently. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how all these characters, right, have come together and made it happen. And I'm just so proud to be an Arsenal fan, and we've come close a couple of times, and to finally have won it the Arsenal way. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't flashy at times, but God willing, we finally got over the finish line, and to all those doubters that said Mikel Arteta wasn't good enough, where they at now? They're kissing ass and pretending that they're Arsenal, that they're Arsenal fans, and
Yeah.
whatever, to each their own right. And it's crazy how I thought about to say it, how good is it for English football to finally have a team that's class like Arsenal is, right? And Liverpool and United are that way as well, where they've had fans for years, right? And then you have your Chelseas and your Man Cities that, to me, don't have that kind of history, and they've been bought in by money that, to me, it ruins the game of football. To me, I like Abramovich is Chelsea, and the oil money that come from the Saudi Arabians, it doesn't fit the right. It doesn't fit the narrative that they bought these teams, right? They bought these trophies,
Yeah.
and for Arsenal to finally win it is like so gratifying to me that it has these classic fans, these supporters that say that they've been there since the bad days. Well, Arsenal haven't had their bad years as well. Where we always finish fourth, we got Europa League. We weren't good enough to be in the top four at certain years, and Arteta inherited a mess, right? With
Yeah.
the big names like Aubameyang and Ozil and the Lacazette, the David Luiz's, the Connor Mustards, the the Socrates's, right?
Like
The
Steiners,
you listen, the the
he's still in the
Guendouzi's,
Philippines somewhere
the
in the long
Guendouzi's,
grass,
right? The
Kuala
Guendouzi,
Lumpur.
the Pepes, right? The Guendouzi's,
With Doozies, yeah.
it all comes full circle when
Yeah.
you have a group together and you have a project that the Chronicies, aka Cronkies, they have a plan and they didn't give up on their Celta when other managers would have, right? So they stuck together, they had a plan, and it worked out. And we had to buy players that didn't fit the narrative, right, as they say, and it all worked out eventually. So yeah, we had a couple second place finishes, but they were consistent second place finishes where we thought we could win the league. But
Yeah.
we bought players like Declan Rice, like a Havertz, like a
Huge.
Eze to get us over the hump. It may have taken a while, but we got there. And Eucharist, gosh, and then talk about Leandro Trossard, who people were saying we should have gotten Modric, whatever how you say his name from Chelsea. So
Yeah.
there's stories as well, and the players that helped us get to that point, like Ramsdale, like Kieran Tierney. Those players should be recognized as
Yes.
well, and
Good shot.
also Tomiyasu's and
Yes.
well,
Tomiyasu. Yeah.
Zinchenko was up to sign, but he didn't do a very good job of that. But it seems like we got there, but players helped us get to that point, like uh, Mel's Rowe, and players that helped the Xhaka. He came back to life and helped the leadership of that group out, right?
Yeah.
So all these players to be recognized as well, and those who stayed, who wanted to see it through. Um, is just incredible. I think Arteta's done a great job. Yeah, he's been criticized and all that, but you learn from your mistakes and you win hard. You win ugly sometimes, and those are the wins that get you through. And it's been impressive what he's done, and I think the board deserves a lot of credit, and Berta as well. They stuck by him, and whenever things were dark, he didn't he didn't give up on himself either, and I think that should be taken into consideration as well when it wasn't a popular choice at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a true manager as well. We see it in the All or Nothing documentary. He says, I take the shit for you guys." He goes to the press conferences and he takes all of the flack. And when you're in the dressing room, you probably have to really appreciate that as well. You know, Alonso
Do you know
saving his energy. Go ahead for Tony shenanigans. Yes, Dad.
do you know who the first person with a connection to Arsenal that I came across when on social media that put out a congratulations message?
Oh,
I mean, there were others maybe before, but the first one that I saw was Mohamed El Neni.
Oh wow!
yeah, yeah. I saw that. I saw one from Granit Xhaka. Even players like Camille Smith-Rowe, they all helped us to get there. Ramsdale and Kieran Tierney were players that Alonso mentioned as well. David Luiz, these are the kind of players.
Oh,
So
please.
I'm a little, I know, I
Spoil it.
know. William Gallas down. William Gallas got us to this point as well. 2010, 2012, something like that. Yeah. Waka Waka has entered the studio. He's back. Waka Waka Havertz is back. Um, and then I'm minded about uh, Mo Salah's recent comments. Well, I can apply it to Arsenal, right? Because he said, "I, we, we didn't, we turned doubters into believers, and we turned believers into winners." Something like that has happened at Arsenal as well. Um, and some of these players that Alonso just mentioned, Kieran Tierney. I'm so glad Kieran Tierney won an FA Cup with us. And was able to go back to Scotland. Gallus was the start of our banter era, and Ramsdale. We had the Ramsdalians, the loyalists to the Ramsdales, who didn't
Leno.
believe in with Raya at the time. Remember
Leno.
that? And Burn Leno,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it all comes down to um, that as well. Question Stan, do you think Arteta will get more respect from the media from now on?
Uh,
Will-
you'd like to think so.
Right.
You'd like to think so, but I think that one of the reasons why we get so much stick is our fan base. We're a very vocal fan base. We have a lot of fan channels, a lot of personalities in that space, and I think it's some of that, some of our fans' reactions to things. Sometimes there's probably been a little bit of hey teabag, yeah man, forgot about him. He's still an Arsenal player, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's still on the books. He's still on the books.
Yeah.
Teabag.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Ow.
I think a lot of the way that some of us can be in our fan base is what winds a lot of people up a little bit. I do think that some of us have a bit of an over entitlement complex at times. And there is a lot of reaction to almost every single result can have a reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, we're fighting for a championship, and then even up to a few weeks ago, a month ago, there are people that are talking about getting rid of the manager, and you're like, why are we talking about that now? Why are we talking about that now? we're winning the league, and we're in the final of a Champions League. Can we not have this conversation after there's nothing to play for? Can't we just hold on for a little bit longer, and then once we've seen where the dominoes fall, then we can give more of an objective opinion about whether the manager should continue or not. And I think that gives a lot of other fans it gives them the needle a little bit, and so they want to see us fall flat on our faces.
Yeah.
As I say, they're probably all ready with the means to do with bottling factories or whatever. Like that guy, that became got his 15 minutes of fame. The guy with the bottle,
Yeah.
drinking out of the Arsenal bottle.
Yeah.
At the City, was it the City game or whatever it was, like Chelsea, but it was a City
Chelsea
fan or
game,
something
yeah.
like that. But yeah, I mean, all that sort. I mean, where is that guy now? Where is he now?
He was at the Bournemouth game, and there's a sad face associated with him.
He's got to be a plant. This guy seems to be everywhere. Since then, he's been planted everywhere. It's probably a plant from Sky Sports, paying him to go to games to get him on the screen. And where is he now? Do you know what I mean? Where is he right now, this moment?
Yeah. Mikel Arteta went from annoying people because he would stray from the area, the designated area for the manager in that dotted line. If Mikel can I think Mikel can calm down a little bit now on the sideline and be a little less inflammatory, that I think the media will start to respect him and Arsenal just a little bit more, I believe. Alonso, what do you think? Do you think Arteta will get more respect from the media from now on? I mean,
I
Pep's going to leave
mean,
as well. Go ahead.
I mean, I would think that the media would take him more seriously now. I think that with him, I think Arteta always been the one where he gives the answers the way he sees fit, right? And the way to me, Arteta is very proud, very prideful person. So I would hope that the media will respect him more. I think, and we haven't borrowed it this year, so I think that there's like a bit of motivation from Arteta to prove people wrong in media, and of course I think they had I think that he'll have their respect. I mean, it's kind of almost he has to demand it because he is who he is, and now that he's won a championship or a title or a trophy, at least they have to lay off him more often and give him some sense of he's a great manager now with the pedigree now where he's won. And to me, I just realized this today in the past couple of days that 10 years ago he retired as Arsenal's captain. It's like it comes full circle, right? Whenever you've been a captain of a big club like Arsenal, and yeah, he hadn't been there long, but he had the respect of his teammates and of course Arsene Wenger. But now he's a coach, man, who won this league.
Yeah.
And not many
Has that ever
people
been
can say
done
that.
before? Has that ever been done before? Has a player who's captained the team then become the manager of that team and run the
George,
league? I don't. Has
was
that happened?
George Graham?
Oh, shit.
Was
Was
George
George Graham
Graham?
captain? Though?
I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't think so.
I think you could say, has a player ever gone on to win the league with Arsenal? But George Graham's done that as a player, but maybe not as a captain. That's true.
So I think what he's done is great. I think that whenever you have people who don't think you can win it because you quote unquote borrowed it, to do all those things, it's just remarkable. I mean, I'm still shocked. I'm still very, very pleased about how he's won it. Right? It's not perfect, but he's done it the way that typical Arsenal, right? Run else to Arsenal. And we had the best defense in the league, where at some points rival fans would say, "Yeah, we'll break, we'll break, we'll break." Where all these injuries we've had recently, it's just remarkable. I mean, I can't say enough about how calm and collective he's been.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that there's been a couple of occasions where we wish he would use the squad in a better way, but generally, the big task for Mikel Arteta this season was Andrea Berta was going to supply him with the players that he needed to get over the line, and Mikel Arteta was going to need to use those players to be able to get over the line. And I always thought the FA Cup was maybe a bridge too far. I had hoped that the Carabao Cup would be a competition we could win, having
Yeah,
gotten to the final, and we didn't. Historically, we haven't won enough of the League Cups. We've always used it in a different way. We had an opportunity, but for me, the Premier League was the one that had to be nailed on and had to be taken care of and had to be addressed. And so we stand here on the 19th of May, uh, where we are now Premier League champions. And Mikel Arteta and all of the players that we have in the squad. Alonso, you picked out Declan Rice amongst others. Uh, Declan Rice came to us believing that we could win the Premier League title, and I don't think he ever wavered, Alonso, in his belief that we could do it.
Yeah, and I mean, fair play to him because to me, the times that he's worn the captain's armband has been really special. To see him lead by example, lead vocally, and the times that he could have went off to City, Manchester City, but he didn't. He decided to come to Arsenal with his mate Bukayo Saka. It's just the whole dynamic of that team with Declan Rice not giving up and saying the guys, "Hey, let's come on, we still have time to win the league." And he never gave up on himself. He never gave up on his teammates. And that's the kind of player you want on your team when things are down. You need someone to pick them up. And I think with Odegaard being there, I think he helps him out being his lieutenant at times, as well as Saka and Megalegs.
Yeah,
The whole team has a story, right? To me, and you think about the 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 motivation, the way that they came about whenever things were down, whenever the teammates get hurt. They didn't want to give up on each other. They played with a chip on their shoulder a lot of the time this year. When things weren't going their way, especially after losing the League Cup final. When we lost to Bournemouth, we lost to City in the final of the FA Cup. Sorry, we lost to
the league,
Southampton in the semifinals of the League
yeah,
Cup of the FA Cup. Or was it quarterfinals?
quarterfinal.
Yeah, yeah. So they were there for each other whenever things were down, and I think that should take this should be taken in account because we didn't have Kai Havertz for a long time. We didn't have Julian Timber. We lost Ben White recently. Kalafuri wasn't always healthy. Saka wasn't always healthy. Udegaard wasn't always healthy. Eze, Madueke, the list goes on and on. But the
Yeah,
way they fought to the ends was pretty incredible. It still is. Um, Hence, we didn't have depth in the past. We didn't have the proper players in the past. Um, and this was a great year all around. I think everyone should be proud of themselves.
yeah.
yeah, well said. Um, we if we'd have gone, we'd have progressed to an FA Cup semi-final and an FA Cup final. We'd have played every available game that we could have played in the season. So this will have been the fullest season you could ever play, minus two games, and a semi-final in the FA Cup and the final itself. Um, so that's a lot of games, and for Andrea Berta to supply the players, and as Alonso said, we've had so many injuries stand along the way. We've had so many injuries, but because the squad that we built, haven't really we haven't really been hurting too much from those injuries.
It's been quite a bad year for injuries for us, key players.
Yeah.
I mean,
Guard.
our captain, the amount of times our captain came back from injury and would break down before the game or break down in the first half and be out again. We've had the star boy, Saka, who's basically the face of the club. I mean, he's been in and out of the team. Not had his, return wise, not had his best season return wise. But so glad that he's managed to get back now for this last part of the season. It's been important in the last few games, his contribution. But ravaged, man. We've literally been ravaged by injuries, and we've still managed to get over the line. Still managed to do it. And now we could have everybody or the majority of them back. Because I think Mikel Mourinho is on the mend. I mean, doubtful that he might even play because he's not had any warm-up games. For the final. We've got these players back for the final. Speaking of the final, I know that they're saying that Paris Saint-Germain is the favourite. But, I mean, on our way to the final, we're unbeaten.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't lost a single game to get to this point. I mean, that's got to say something as well. We've really earned our place in this final. We've really earned it. We've not lost a single game.
Some of the rival fans again complain that we've had an easy passage. We were on the easiest side.
Even if that's true, that's not in our control. We can only play who's in front of us. So you're telling me that a team has never won the Champions League with an easier route than maybe the other team that gets to the final? It happens.
Of course, yeah.
It happens. That's why in the old days you'd want to finish top of your group, because if you finish top of your group, you're going to get it a little bit better in the next round. That was your incentive. That was your prize. So to try and besmirch our efforts by saying, "Oh, you've had the easiest route," even if that is true, we're not the first ones to get an easier route, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah.
But we still had to play those teams, and we still had to get a result. And thus far, we haven't lost a game. I mean,
as you rightly say, Stan. As you rightly say, you top the group and you win all 8 games in your in the group stages, and you top the league. And you reap the benefits of that by, first of all, not going into a playoff, 2 games of a playoff, which is extra games in January or February, and also you get a favorable seeding for the brackets, right, for the knockout stages. And so we got a tricky tie against Sporting Lisbon, which we came through. And the important thing about the Champions League is not to get a player sent off. Barcelona had a player sent off in the Atletico Madrid game, and they couldn't overcome that. Atletico Madrid came through. So, and we know from our last Champions League final in Paris 20 some years ago, a red card is so damaging to have a player sent off, and a goalkeeper as well. And it really does, because then you've got to sacrifice an outfield player as well. So, long may it continue that we don't have any sendings off for red cards. You know what I mean?
It's been none this season.
None this season. So say it quietly, whisper it softly. BX said Havertz's goal goes down as the one to steal the title. Stan, what was the lowest point in the season for you? Which result?
I think it was maybe Brentford.
Oh, that draw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we were getting into a position where we could have been forming a nice cushion. And what was the game that we played after Brentford?
I can tell you now. Was it Wolves?
I seem to remember the game after Brentford playing a lot better. And then looking back at that Brentford game, where to me, I always talk about it's the manner of the loss.
Yeah.
That was a terrible manner. You watch that game and you know that the players can do much better than that.
The Brentford one.
and that's annoying. It's annoying when you see that happen, right? You know, you don't get all of the rewards, and you know that it's not because it wasn't for the want of trying, it was for the lack of it. And I really felt that in that Brentford game that we were not there.
Lethargic,
Bournemouth as well.
tired. Huh?
Bournemouth as well. Bournemouth,
Oh yeah,
another one.
Brentford 1-1 Brentford game, and then we played the next league game was away to Wolves as well.
Now,
So
what was
we
the
went away
sorry? What was the game after Bournemouth? Because Bournemouth was the horrors as well.
to Man City.
Yeah, Bournemouth was the
Yeah,
horrors. But Bournemouth was another low point,
That's right.
yeah, yeah,
probably more than Brentford actually. Two teams that begin with a B. But that
yeah.
Bournemouth one, that's why I was looking at today and I was thinking, like, this is not easy for Man City today. If anyone could take points off City, it can be Bournemouth.
Yeah, yeah. Bournemouth they had fantastic unbeaten run, which Man City and Arsenal contributed to their
In fact,
long
I would
unbeaten
say
run of
Bournemouth over
51
Brentford,
games played.
actually. I would say Bournemouth is the one.
Yeah, but
Is
that
the
was
one
yeah
when I think about it.
we didn't play well at all. We were out of sorts that
That's
whole game.
what I meant. That's the one that I meant. Not Brentford, Bournemouth.
Yeah, okay. For me, it was that
We did not
Wolverhampton
play
Wanderers.
to we didn't play to the best of our ability at all at Bournemouth.
To
And you're
me, it
like,
was
is this the one that's
Wolver.
I thought that was going to be the game that cost us. That
Yeah,
one-off game where we just played like a load of shit. I thought, okay, this is the one that's going to really hurt us now.
and that came after probably a big European game, right? I think it was 1-0. We win 1-0 at Sporting. Yeah, we win 1-0 at Sporting, and Kai Havertz goal again in the Champions League, and then we go back to the Bournemouth game, and we just were not at the races in that game. Uh, for me, the Wolverhampton Wanderers away from home. Uh,
Uh,
this guy was falling at that point. I thought Alonso, it was like,
yeah, I mean, to be fair, sorry, Ray.
yeah,
But I think Wolves both games were
poor.
bad.
Yeah,
I remember I think one of them was early December.
got
We
out
played
of jail.
Wolves and we looked so bad. And
Mhm.
then the Wolves game this spring was just also a crap game because like the Wolves defended really well, but we looked out of it. We looked it was a draw, right? And we couldn't create, we couldn't
2-2.
score. We should have just blown them out.
Yeah,
And we didn't come back into the game like we often do, and then boom, they beat us or they draw. And in the game, we should have won. We should have gotten more than we should have.
yeah,
But it's like, God. And then, and also another game that kind of made me mad was both Liverpool games. Now it was early in the season because we could have came back from that, but you know, it was just games that we should have won.
yeah,
Um, can't think of what
yeah.
else. Games
Here's me. Here's me. Yeah, good stuff, Alonso. Yeah, Stan, I've completely kind of lost track of time as well. So yeah, we'll wrap it up pretty soon. Um, close to midnight here. So yeah, we've been going close to 3 hours here. But um, Wolverhampton Wanderers away from me. So having said, Stan, real quick, having said, what's your worst performance, and Brentford being one of them. What was a high point for you in the league?
Oh, in the league, uh,
Yeah, because we've had the Champions League games. We got to hone in on the Premier League here. So we put Aston Villa to the sword. I enjoyed that one because we got humbled a little bit at Villa Park and unlucky to lose that game in the dying moments. But that happens, right? Um,
yeah,
beating Aston Villa. The North London derby, Eze scoring a hat trick was
yeah.
good, very enjoyable, and especially winning the return game at their place. So
Yeah,
that was a few for me.
I think the North London derby is quite special.
Got it.
You know,
Got that Max
especially with a
down.
player that a player that gets a hat trick. The story behind the player. The player was very, very close to having to wear a Tottenham shirt this season.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of added ingredients around that, and I think that is definitely one of the highlights. It's always good to put one over on your rivals, but in the manner of that we did that was was uh, was good. You know, another low point for me was the first game of the season against Liverpool.
One of them, yeah.
Quite a, because you know
We didn't
it
show
took a
ambition.
it took a piece of magic with the Sabozalai free kick to get
I also
something out of
feel,
it. I kind of
yeah,
felt really kind of like deflated after that.
yeah. I also feel like if we go there next season, we'll have a bit of we should have a bit more of a swagger about us. We're the Premier League champions, and I feel like Mikel was very cautious in that game. I would have taken the draw and been happy with it. You know what I mean? Uh, I so listen. I think we'll wrap it up here. I'm going to catch up on a couple of comments and then get out of here. I lost track of time, honestly, Stan, because I was enjoying talking about this, but it's getting close to midnight here for me, anyway. Um, so, Stan, get out of here. Uh, give us your final thoughts, and I'll stick around with Alonso for a few more minutes.
Yeah, it's a great day to be a gooner. Enjoy it. Walk into your, you know, if you work somewhere where there's a lot of football chat going around, walk into more with your chest pumped out large, puff out your chest because no one
Yeah,
can say nothing to you now
wear your shirt.
no one can
Wear
say
your
nothing
shirt.
to you now for a season, and who knows what happens at the end. You know what happens at the end of the season of the Champions League, but enjoy it. We've deserved it. Only the best team over the 38 games becomes the champion, and we've done that. It hasn't been okay. It may have not been sexy on the eye at times, you know, but it doesn't always have to be.
Are you beat
We've
me?
done what has been needed to do to lift the hoodoo, and long may it continue. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that's come in and joined us today. A lot of the old usual faces and a couple of new names as well. Special shout out to Nigel, the Liverpool fan that's been in here with us. And
Yeah.
yeah, see you all in the next one. I'll see you all on the next one, whenever that may be. I don't know if we're going to still do one on Thursday. Probably not, I would imagine.
Probably
There's not
not.
much
We
more.
might. We'll hang tight till maybe Sunday and do something
Yeah,
Sunday. Maybe a watch along on Sunday.
yeah.
Because
Maybe a watch along on Sunday.
we
Maybe.
want to see that title. We want to see the title, the trophy lift, and all that
Yeah.
stuff. We want to do
Yeah,
the.
until I
Yeah,
see that, until I see the players running around with the trophy, it's not real yet. It's not kind of real yet, you know. So anyway, look, I'm off. Thanks to everyone, and
yeah.
I'll see you two later, and I'll catch you all on the next one.
All right, Stan.
Up
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Spurs.
Cheers, man. Take it
I'll
easy,
give
pal.
I'll give Alonso a few more minutes here because you came in a little bit late. But yeah, we want to see that.
Oh,
Whoa. On Sunday. That'll be especially nice, Alonso, won't it?
yeah, because I'm sure you've heard the story before, but I became a gooner in 2008-9 season,
Yeah.
and that's the year my nan passed away. So, and 2 years later, I lost my mom and pop, as they say in the north. So, I remember watching in New Jersey, and my cousin Alan, he wasn't wanting to watch um, SpongeBob SquarePants, right? And I had an argument with them, and I had one upon ESPN2 at the time, and also I'm playing I think Blackpool, and they just got promoted back up to the league after X amount of years. And I think Dale Walcott scored in that game. I forgot who else scored. It was a 6-0 win for Arsenal. So it's games like that that you remember. And I had a friend of mine who passed away last year who was also a big Arsenal fan. And we often talk about the dark times and how Arsenal lost to Barcelona. I believe they got lost bad, but it was a time I had my friends. And I remember last May, my friend Robbie, who's also an Arsenal fan, texted me how David died in the during the Bournemouth game, and how he was a good dude. And so yesterday, my mom and I had lunch with his wife and some of his aunt and uncle and just some friends of ours. And it was a good time. It was really, really good time. And so, Arsenal is just not just a football club. It's just, a group of friends that we do podcasts and we watch games together. And I've been on this podcast for the last 6 years now.
Yeah,
And it's been a great time, Ray. It really has. And, we've been through some dark times in the past 6 years prior to 2022-23 season. We come second. But we were there whenever Arteta got hired, and Emery lost his job and all that that summer or that winter and into that summer when Arteta got hired. So we've seen a lot of great stuff, but man, it's been a pleasure, right, doing this podcast with you
yeah,
and Ray, excuse me, and Gary and Tony and Stan. Rohan made a guest appearance. Um, so sorry if I'm forgetting anyone. But yeah, it's been a great time on this podcast, Ray. And you brought me on during COVID when I was when I was still sick, but that's all right. It was a good time, man. And you always forget the bad times to make you humble, make you think about.
yeah,
It's the bad times make you think about the good nowadays. And so it's been an honor doing these shows with you, Ray, every Thursday and Sunday. It's really cool, man. And so
yeah.
it's been a really good time, and to celebrate this year with you and Tony and Ray, Tony and Gary and Stan, it's been pretty special.
Yeah, I wish Tony and Gary could have dropped in as well. The things you said, Alonzo, great. It definitely resonates with me as well because you know we've all been through things personally, but we go through this Arsenal experience together, right? And there was some bad years where even if there were bad results, we would get on a podcast on a Sunday after the show and it would feel a little bit like therapy. You know what I mean? And the bad result was still crap, but you didn't feel so crap afterwards because we got to have a little bit of fun, a little bit of banter. We all have our own inside jokes, you know, aka the chronic keys or
AKA
a boomerang,
Bummerang, yeah, Bummerangs,
a
the
boomerang.
the
Yeah,
the Karen Gibbs,
Kieran Gibbs stuff, or
yeah,
yeah. So there's been so much stuff in 8 years that we all have individually and collectively um, have had some fun on this podcast, and so that's what makes it fun, right? I mean, and by seeing how bad that we were over these 8 years, we can kind of look now. We're kind of at the summit,
yeah,
right? We're the top dogs now, and we can look at I'm sorry for rivals, but the shit show is going on at other clubs because that
us,
was happening at our club. You know what I mean? And the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, uh,
that's all right.
those teams will get it together eventually, and they will climb. But right now we're gonna enjoy life at the top because it looks good. When you get to the top of a hill, top of a mountain, you can see the whole view. That's where we're at right now. We can see everything, Alonzo.
My sincere apologies. Rudy's right. I forgot Sam was a part of this show, and all the other ones that I will not name because they're no longer a part of the podcast. But yeah, I miss when Sam was on. It was a good time with him, and
Sam Greenwood.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also Mahir. I just hope that he's okay. And others as well, like Rohan was also a great person to talk to, and hope to see him soon. I really enjoyed his chats and his analysis. Um, and
Yeah.
there's others we lost as well. Yeah, exactly. I
Tiger
agree. Yeah.
Gunner, my old man would be happy today up there in heaven.
So my
Just
friend
take.
Gabe, yeah, same as my friend Gabe. I think that we've all lost one during this run. I think as far as I support Arsenal, I've lost some personal loved ones as well. So it's just really special, right? I tell you, I almost got emotional at work because I think back on the times that I've lost people as well during this run, and it's really special to have Arsenal win for a change, and it's just the fact that they've overcome so much in the past 8 years when Arsene Wenger left and Unai Emery and the crowd that people went through as far as in the club, and the people who let go like the scouts, um, the backroom people like even um, Freddie Lundberg had a big part in the team as well. It's just been really, really, there are times in which I think also Arteta brought back all the older players as well. Um, so that's really special to see because they not want to be a part of the club. I haven't been on Instagram lately, but I'm interested to see how players like Van Persie feel, how Saman Nasri, how Adebayor feel because they didn't leave on the club on best terms. I think Seth Fabregas made amends a while back, but it'd be interesting to see how these players that left Arsenal on bad terms w- will come back now. And their things changed. Um, things hung.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, thanks, pal. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Absolutely. Um, yeah. It means a lot. Even yeah. Tiger and Gunner. Now you sent that stuff. I'll check that out as well. Tiger and Gunner. Um, I had been viewing them. I just wanted to be sure it was you. Usman, yeah, all the way from Ireland.
mm,
We had some, we've had some good, like we had some interesting
characters.
people. Do you know what I mean? Um, and Usman was good crack as well, good fun, as we say
Hoops.
in Ireland. Uh,
Who's got hoops?
hoops, yeah. You do 8 years of podcasts. You're gonna do. You're gonna have lots and lots of people on. Glenn Knightley was on.
You
Kitely.
know, it's funny because I believe you sent me a DM on Twitter saying, "Hey, check this out, man," and I did. And the first podcast I saw you guys, I had a PS3, right? And I got YouTube connected. I had got YouTube connected to my TV, so I watched it. And I was sick with COVID, right? It was the
Yeah,
pandemic at the time.
yeah,
I had got sick, so I remember Glenn. I think it's the same guy you talked from New York, right? He goes, I never forget it. Because I was on Andrew's podcast for a little bit,
yes,
and he came to me and said, "Man, you sound like Darth Vader." I'm like, "Thanks a lot, Glenn, scumbag." And,
yeah.
and so then that day, right? You sent me, yeah, he was a total prick. So I watched the YouTube this podcast via my PS3 on YouTube app on the PS3. I was like, Andy, I was so excited, and I remember Hoops arguing with Tony about something, right? Remember that, Ray?
Yes.
And I was like, oh dear, what am I getting myself into with this this group? And I remember it was Ryan and the Bearded Gooner. I'm like, oh
Ryan, yeah,
god.
that's I was trying to remember his name. Ryan.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and also I forgot how many times my computer went out. Right? Remember my computer would always my laptop would always go out
Yeah.
mid mid sentence
Midstream.
or whatever midstream. Like, God dang it! And so it was just a good time, man. I tell you.
Yeah, listen, uh, like I said, and the collaborations with some of the Liverpool guys as well. Uh, I had one podcast with Rich, who was a Manchester United podcaster at the time as well. Um, and yeah, a couple of West Ham guys as well.
Okay.
Charlie, Charlie was good fun,
Hmm.
and Athers, I think his name was. You know, I really hope that West Ham can get out of trouble
Yeah.
on Sunday. They need a win and Tottenham to lose. And so come on, Everton, beat Tottenham and West Ham. They can beat Leeds. They could beat Leeds at home. So it's not nothing's impossible yet. Uh, West Ham. Some of the fans that we've podcasted with, West Ham fans, I like them. Uh, but the fan base, the West Ham fan base,
Brownie.
have had a weird alliance with Manchester City over the last couple of years because of the rivalry, I suppose, with Arsenal. And um, the transfer of Declan Rice was not a smooth one, but I'd still like to see West Ham stay in the Premier League and have Tottenham go down.
Yeah, I think, it's to me as a very special rivalry. Um, I have a friend of mine who starts at my store named Daryl. Daryl's a good guy. He's very, very low key. He wanted Declan Rice to win the league because of West Ham and all that. So, um, to me, I'm sure I told you this, Ray. I'm sure I told the West Ham supporter you had on. Yeah, I always had a soft spot for Charlton Cole. He was to me a good guy and a good striker for West Ham. Remember him, right? Right? Remember him, Charlton Cole?
Yes,
Yeah.
the sun's
Um.
coming up in the UK.
Nice.
So,
So I want to stay up for him. And my friend Daryl. Um. But yeah, it's weird because it's two of your rivals, two of your derby rivalries going against it. Can potentially one of them are going to stay up, one of them are going to sit down. You know what I mean? And typically it's West Ham, right? So my hope is that Tottenham will go down. I guess
yeah. Don't forget Brownie. Matt, we talked about Matt earlier as well. Matt was on with us for quite a time. And
Do I
then,
know him?
yeah, Matt from England. Yeah, you probably did a couple with him,
Okay,
you know. My here.
right here.
Shout out to my here, wherever you are.
Mhm.
May not be with us. It's 5:10 a.m. here, Rich.
Oh wow.
Listen, I hope that, well, first of all, thank you for being here, everyone from the UK. I do appreciate AFC slightly already has not slept all night. So if you got to go to work, hopefully you get through the day. You know what I mean? Um, I got to go to work in the morning, but I get 5 or 6 hours sleep here. Uh, but respect to you if you're going to work in the next few hours. Ready? Hope you have a good rest of the week here. And yeah, we'll try and bring back the Sunday shows. We'll try and have a live um, watch along on Sunday. I think that's the best way to go. Have a watch along on Sunday. Enjoy the trophy presentation. It's been a long time coming for this Arsenal team and these Arsenal players. Um, and Tiger, yeah, glad you were able to see that we were on. Stan got on the blowers like we got to do a podcast, but it's not Thursday. But it's not Thursday, and that's why I call it Thursday Night Forum. Wasn't even thinking actually. It's just like muscle memory. Thursday Night Forum.
Yeah, it feels like a Thursday. It feels like a Thursday, and I wish it was Thursday. To be honest.
Are we doing anything during the summer? I think we might have a little bit of a hiatus when the World Cup is on, but then probably in July, late July, August, we'll start going again because we will be thinking about players that we want to bring in. Keep your feet on the ground till Sunday. Uh, Still plenty to do. We'll get there, Nigel. This group of players will do it.
I think
Um,
I think Orlando wants us to win the league, win Champions League, huh?
yeah, well, he's right. He's right behind us. He's right behind us. That's for sure. As soon as I saw you and jumped on, Tiger, great to have you here. Transfer talks, yeah. And we're going to get back to at the start of the season. We're going to get back to maybe previewing the games of the weekend as well because I kind of enjoyed that, and I know Tony liked the "Who Gives a Fuck" games. To
Yeah, actually, what
on the
happened with that,
road.
right? We didn't do a certain, you know,
I used to have a Liverpool
give,
section, right? I used to have a
uh,
Liverpool.
oh yeah, that's why I forgot.
Remember,
You're
I
so
got
good about
accused of being a
Liverpool.
closet Liverpool fan.
Also, we didn't do predictions on weekly
We
games that I
figured
won the before, but
you did.
nobody acknowledged it.
You won it. You won one season. That's for sure. Big up everybody. It's been a journey. Yeah, we'll have to get back to the because that was good, Alonso.
It
The
was fun.
predictions, right?
I still can't believe I won.
The upset. You won. You won for sure. Yeah. Won't see you on Sunday, but I'll be busy with the Arsenal lads. Good. Enjoy Tiger and Gunner. Good.
Yeah, I might watch my friends as well. I mean, I've never experienced this in my life, right? So, I mean, of
Yeah, and
course,
that's a great thing because um, I've seen the team win titles before, and so I can sort of stack one against the other. But it's great that BX Gunner and you and other fans like that get to experience the Arsenal winning the Premier League again. There's times when
yeah,
you thought it wouldn't happen, right?
yeah, because I mean, look, I was thinking about this. I thinking about a lot of stuff, especially today,
Yeah,
with Arsenal winning, and I look at times that we were close, times that we, for example, last year, right? We didn't get to the semifinals of the Champions League for like a very long time. I think 15 years, I believe.
yeah,
And we played a great Manchester United team that were like a well machine. And they had Ronaldo, and they had a very great team then. So it was hard to beat them, but we didn't do that bad. We didn't embarrass ourselves. So I don't know. I did not know a lot about Arsenal then. Um, but as I see it now, it is different in a good way. Like I mentioned before, we've seen that bad years, right? Finishing eighth twice, right?
yeah.
Was it eighth twice, right?
Eight twice, and we were in the
Yeah,
Europa League once. Once in that eighth place finish because we won the FA Cup.
yeah, that's
You
right.
know.
So there are some pretty unbearable years there.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of growth, courage to do what Arteta's done, and it takes a lot of guts from the ownership to take on a just an assistant without no head coaching experience, and he got a lot of crap for that as well.
Yeah,
But
and not
but
only that, but to support him when it would have been easy to maybe let him go when
hmm
times were tough. Because we did lose a Europa League semifinal as well in his tenure. A lot of cup exits, of course. When you're there for 6 seasons, um, you have 24 opportunities to win trophies. You know what I mean? You have a lot of chance to win trophies, and it didn't happen. You know, for a long time. So, but yeah, listen, it's been a great season, Alonso, and we'll have more time to talk about it in the coming weeks. We really knuckle down and and talk about where we won the league. And I will just say this, and I was thinking about this morning. We didn't win the big games. We didn't beat the big teams,
No,
you know. But what we did was we were consistent from sixth place down. We won a lot of games against a lot of teams. Uh, Man City won the big games, but dropped a lot of points from mid-table downward. You know,
that's crazy. You know,
crazy when you think about it. And that's what the Premier League. The Premier League is all about picking up points where you can and being consistent. And we were
like
just a little bit more consistent than Man City.
this is why I believe maybe you could agree with this, Ray. But this is why the English Premier League is the best league in the world
Yeah,
because you can be at last place. Wolves drew against Arsenal, right?
yeah,
And no other team, no, to my knowledge, no other team can do that. And this is why I think in recent years it's been frustrating because we didn't win the league. We came in second, and that to me, but all things considered, isn't that bad.
yeah. I mean, when you look at it, we took. I wanted probably the most important goal of the whole season was Gabriel Martinelli's injury time goal against
Hmm.
Man City in September. Right?
Hmm.
That's crazy because the swing in points would have flipped it the other way around to where Man City could have drawn tonight and went on
It,
to win the league. You
it's
know,
also pretty
so that's
funny
one goal.
when rival clubs will always talk about, well, this is the hardest stretch of games that Arsenal has ever been, and they could get what 0 out of 16 or something like that, right? Still 0 out of 15,
Yeah,
and we can never come out of it. But we beat United, we beat Chelsea, we beat Leeds at Leeds. I mean, we lost Liverpool, yeah, okay,
yeah,
but all in all, it was not a bad start. I mean, Drew, we got
yeah.
to
You're that first,
yeah,
yeah, the
yeah,
first
we got
six
a point.
games,
Mm-hmm.
and beating
Newcastle,
Newcastle in injury time as
yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm.
So important. So some of those are very important wins. You know what I mean?
Especially in years past when we had trouble with Newcastle.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks, Nigel. The manager's perfect to keep the players on the ground. I think you're
mhm.
right. Mikel Arteta does keep the players even keeled and keeps them concentrating on what they need to do, which is winning games. You know what I mean? Alonso, we are the Premier League champions. Has it sunk in yet, or we still need to see the
Oh gosh,
players lift the trophy a little bit on Sunday? It's over. It's
it's
over. The Premier League is over. We've won it.
it's funny because I saw the last 15 minutes of the game today, at work, and whenever they got to the last, I don't know, 5 minutes, including extra time, I was like, oh boy, here we go. And she scored, right? And guess who didn't kick the ball out? Tyler Adams of USA Soccer
Yeah,
did not kick the ball out. I'm like, God. And then when Holland Robot scores, I'm like, oh, jeez, here we go again. But no, man, like, Bournemouth held it together. And it just, exactly, me too, man.
yeah,
Um, Fair play to you, Tyron Gunner. Um,
yeah,
it's just, there were so many emotions that hit when the final whistle blew. And I was on my break, so I had to be careful with my words because there were two girls there. I'm like, come on, yeah, come on. Because I've never felt that emotion before. Yeah, we wanted to pick cups. And then
yeah,
look on Instagram, and my friend, my coworker, was sitting beside, next to me. He was like, man, Declan, like, he was pretty happy because I was yelling. And I was like, man, this day couldn't be any better. And
Yeah.
I brought my Arsenal cap to work, and I asked my boss, "Can I wear it?" He said no. I'm like, "Oh, whatever." And I was like, and the final score happened. I'm like, "Yeah, come on!" I was just ecstatic, man. I was over the moon. Had my friends text me, message me. I was like, "Is this for real?" You know? And I walked back. I went, "Man, I couldn't be happier." And I was like, "Man, finally did it." And then I would look back at my phone on Instagram, and I was like, "Man, they're partying up tonight." And the way they came together and celebrated was really special as well.
Yeah. All right. Plans. I suppose plans will be on Sunday. We'll do a watch along on the Sunday game, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, and lifting the trophy. Next Thursday, we'll preview the Champions League final, and probably I will be doing something maybe after the Champions League final, but maybe want to enjoy watching the
Hmm.
Champions League final and being tense about that first. So that's kind of where I'm what I'm thinking right now. You know what I mean?
So, are you gonna do a show on Thursday?
What's that? Next Thursday?
Or
Yeah.
this Thursday? Are you gonna do a show this Thursday?
Not this Thursday.
Okay,
We'll lay low in the long grass till Sunday. All right.
okay.
Um,
Are you gonna do a are you gonna do it after show?
After show on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like maybe not after show, but it'll be like
later.
a watch along on Sunday. Don't do a
Okay,
lot of watch alongs.
fair
You know,
enough.
Tony is very eager to do a Champions League from 2006 watch
Mm,
along. You know, but I don't know. I think I'll probably do it, but kind of watching something and then ultimately knowing it's kind of like watching the Titanic, the movie Titanic. You know what's going to happen.
like a sinking ship. Yeah, I haven't watched back either myself.
I never watched it back, but he's kind of
Mm.
interested in that stuff. But where are you right now? Where are you tonight, Tony? What are you doing? Are you getting stony, Tony?
He's probably getting ready for probably getting ready for war, seeing how his comrade Tonsky.
Comrade Tonsky, or maybe he's got a medical phenomenon going on with him right now as well. You know what I mean?
Uh,
He does have a lot of medical stuff going on with him. So there
wow.
you go.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Listen, I'd love to keep going with this podcast thing. A lot of people have been checking in with us tonight, watching. Um, hope everybody's enjoyed the show. We are no longer, well, we could say we're top of the league, right? But we can also say we are Premier League champions, Alonso.
Man, dude.
2025, 26. It's been a long time coming. So a little thank you, Alonso, for being with me. And yeah, good times. I don't know if we'll do another 8 years, but we'll do some more shows together. That's for sure for the
Yeah.
foreseeable.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Alonso. Say good night, Tony.
Right, Tony?
Good night, Tony. The Kronger keys
Chronic
got us. They put up the money for